Okay, we are live. Hope everybody is having a happy Halloween. It is Halloween today. We are doing a Halloween special, a little bit of alchemy, a little bit of ghouling around, if you will. Going to delve into the spirit realm, the ghosts, the transdimensional beings, consciousness, and what happens essentially when the physical dies, and the crossover to the other realm, and how do you access it today or in this lifetime. Also, Bert and Ernie, I'm going to be showing a little bit of actual making your own monoatomics right now. The jar next to Bert on the left-hand side, that is monoatomic zinc that's already pre-made. I'm going to be setting up a new jar as the stream goes along so that everybody can see the process as it starts, and that is the end result. And then on the right, next to Ernie, there is a big copper coil, and I have 2 silver ounces on the anode side, so I'm working on making monoatomic silver in that one, and it's actually a test. Please, indeed, good call, CJDV. Well, everybody, before you forget, please make sure you've hit that thumbs up, like button, the notifications if you want to be notified for when these streams do go live or when we upload new material. Also, in the descriptions, if you haven't already, I now have a brand new Rumble account and page, so make sure you go sign up on Rumble. I believe, I'm not sure if it's live or if it gets uploaded after the event, but there is now on Rumble all of the shows going. Also on OdySee, make sure you go on both OdySee channels, and of course Crypto Alchemist on YouTube, and BurnEye, Mine's Third Eye, ScienceGuy on YouTube. Oh, what up, Gerald? Brother, happy Halloween. Glad to see you here, my friend. What are you up to? Do you want to hop on the stream by chance? Call in, maybe? If not, when are you available to do a Year of the Coil stream again with Charlie C. and Jeremiah, of which part 2 of this Halloween stream is going to be this evening with Charlie C. And who knows who else will join in. Gerald saying, hey, Bernie, I'm into going on, just have to coordinate so I can set up experiments for live. Perfect. So we'll be live for about an hour, maybe 2 right now. Also going to be live again this evening, sometime probably around 9 or 10 p.m., I would say, hopefully Eastern, at the latest Pacific, that will be a start time. Gerald, make sure you can hop on either now or then, and I'm sure Jeremiah will as well. But I've already got it pre-scheduled with Charlie for the part 2. Tonight we're going to delve more into Charlie's actual story, his work and development with, oh goodness, let me, why can I never find the name of it? Of course, that always happens when you go live. The Skull Experiment. There we go. The Skull group and their transdimensional research. There's the science of speaking with through mediums to the other side with people. But then recording it and the measurements, the science, all of it, that I will just get into a jumble trying to explain it. So if you have not caught the last part stream with Charlie, I, and Andreas Zertis, I'm going to play a section of it right now where Charlie is actually explaining the Ghostbuster gun that he built, and that I believe it's part of the Skull Society is currently testing it and using it to capture and monitor entities, I guess. Whether you want to call them spirits, they probably are. Some ghosts probably are some. Maybe demons, maybe aliens, maybe all of the above. Elves, Akashic records, the whole 9 yards. The out-of-body experience, maybe even. That would be interesting if this thing would detect, potentially, theoretically, if it is getting your energy, your consciousness, catching it out of body. If you're on a hallucinogenic experience and experiencing an out-of-body experience, or meditating out-of-body experience, if this device could potentially capture that too. I will ask that tonight. But enough of me trying to explain it. I'm going to play the portion right now, and that's why I left it here to remind me. Big development coming up. I'm going to be doing a phone call meeting, group call with Nancy Hutchinson and potentially John Hutchinson, myself, Jeremiah, and Charlie in the next couple of days here. And they're going to be coming on the show pretty darn quick, hopefully within the next week or two. Gerald, we're going to have to do at least, you got to hopefully hop on tonight for the Halloween, make it a Coil, You're the Coil Halloween special, right? Ooh, that would be a good one, because I know there's a whole bunch of people that have technical questions for you, Gerald, that are trying to replicate the work or apply the results, your knowledge of testing certain coils and building them to their own coil experiments. Oop-a-doop-a-doo. Did I list it, or do I need to list it? Probably should post that in the live chat as I mention them. Open the link. Oh gosh, now why does it do that? Here we go. Find a specific video on Rumble. Video. There we go. Here we go. So, the video that I'm about to play for you off of my YouTube account that is up on screen right now, I am actually posting the link for that same video on my new Rumble account in the live stream right now. So, everybody, make sure you go and check out and subscribe to the brand new Rumble BurnEye account. But happy rising, exactly. Neither have I. I will be taking a couple of cat naps throughout this Halloween ghoulish day to make sure that I do the number 2 part with Charlie C. And all will be released. No sauce shall stay secret. All right, we've got Gerald, my brother of coils, releasing the secret sauce with us today. 100% Chuck the Canuck. I love the Keshi Foundation myself. I've actually, that's what first got me into experimenting with electrolysis and monoatomics. A good point that Keshi, these essentially are just more advanced Keshi jar of life, I believe he calls them, but the acronym that he refers to monoatomics, he calls it GANS, gas, atom, not nano, solid state. So it is a gas atom, as in a single solid atom, like a noble gas atom is, but it is a solid single nano-sized essentially monoatomic. Same thing there. Get what it's seeing. So gas, atom, nano, solid state. It is a monoatomic single solid atom of an element. This stuff right here. All right. So yes. Anywho, this is actually a Keshi coil that I have that you see in the right jar there, that U-shape going down, the big coil that's taking up the top half of the jar. It's actually bubbling right now, producing hydrogen, possibly a bit of oxygen, or the oxygen comes off the anode side of the electrodes, but it could be coming a mixture. There's several different sized gas bubbles, and they actually move differently from one another as well, that come off of both the cathode and anode sides in these electrodes with the different combinations of metals and nano coatings, as well as voltages, as well as if they're coils and wraps and all of that. 100%, that was the next step. You are on the exact same wavelength. I believe we all are now, and that is what's so awesome, Gerald, is both in geopolymers, and I guarantee that's a secret to like a lot of the Roman quote unquote nanotechnology, is mixing these metal monoatomic plasma state atoms into the geopolymers, as well as even potentially as far as what Linda Moulton Howe describes in the supposed super advanced pre-atomite Antarctic under glacier pyramids or something, that there was like wall painted nanoelectric interactive materials, but that I cannot confirm, but will not deny, as it's theoretically possible if you're mixing all of these monatomics. And the second part also is with the orgonite and the orgone energy, and putting the nanomaterials, the monoatomics, into that as well. 12 a.m. Tuesday, New Zealand. All right, brother. Welcome, Brian Evans. One love. All right, so I'm going to shut up and finally play this clip here. It is of Nancy and John Hutchinson and their crystal battery. That's going to be a big part of the episode that the Hutchinsons are going to be doing when they come on with us. And so everybody, actually in part 2 tonight, we'll play the full list of materials that everyone, the build list to make these crystal batteries. They're essentially never-ending solid-state batteries. They're nano-state batteries as well. And a big part of next level plasma state battery technology is actually, it's copyrighted as liquid metal batteries, and the metal is produced through electrolysis, aka it's this monoatomic or nano state metal elements being put into these saltwater batteries. And it's also your ancient Baghdad battery to another degree, and that's where it comes full circle with the Keshi cup of life, which what he calls it, but the very basics of making monoatomic zinc and copper, of which I'm making a live demonstration of right now. It's monoatomic zinc in the left jar that I'm going to be harvesting right now, and then as I empty it, I'm going to set up a new reaction where it'll also make it live, and I'll also focus in on this monoatomic silver production and the coil next to Ernie there. And so the Hutchinsons, I've got a phone call coming up with them to set up an episode we're going to be doing right away together with Jeremiah, aka Join the Technicians, aka also his second channel, Exotic Propulsion, and Charlie C, aka Charles Crawford III, who will be speaking here and who has built this Ghostbuster gun, which is back to the theme of this whole Halloween ghoulish episode. All right, here we go. Let me know how the sound is.
I like Texas. after that self-reactive.
I like San Antonio.
In this particular case, you need a small ladle because
The best part of this video is at the end when they mentioned they had a power cell that produces AC and DC, and that's what created some strange effects. And I think Nancy mentions it with on aluminum, it produces the effect with EVOs on aluminum. That's been verified by a few other groups.
Say that again. The battery is able to produce both AC and DC. Or they have a-
Yeah, it was just a short clip at the end of this, but yeah, she mentions in a few weeks she'll share that. That's why I commented in this video and tried to ask her directly if we could learn more about that design.
Emily, Austin's the live music capital of the world, not like Paris or like Nantes. I don't know. Okay, maybe.
Power supply gives them a boost of energy. All we want it to do is line up the crystalline structure, and we generally will end up with something around 0.5, 0.7 volts. Something that is this size.
Oh. So for whatever reason, I read that as Nancy Pelosi come on my show. Sorry. I was like, bro, the timing on this, I don't know. Did you guys ever you look into that today? So Nancy Pelosi's husband got hit in the head in his own home. And I just went on a tour of San Francisco a couple of years ago to do a Charteria tour after the World's Fair and the San Francisco Fair, looking at all this stuff. And a buddy of mine takes me around there and he's like, you want to see Nancy Pelosi's house? You want to see, and it's a castle, not a house. And then you want to see, like, there's a school nearby that's this castle. It's like a Jewish, like school that's beautiful and everything. But there's all of this money there is the point. So the idea that anybody could have gotten to this guy's house, you know, even in San Francisco, like San Francisco's got castles in it with like guards, armed guards. I don't know. Weird story.
Like, Nancy is an absolute genius too. Like, her and John did their presentation at APEC. Like, the information she was sharing was just as amazing.
Dude.
Yeah, her channel is great. Just has the main interests of John Hutchison's work.
They will not. This is coming from the charge. They've gotten their amperage. The key thing is to make sure that they are properly made in the first place so that you don't have a lot of moisture and thereby you don't have a lot of that chemical reaction going. You want them to dry out, and I've usually given them a little bump like we just gave on this power supply after they've dried out. Once they've dried out and I've given them a bump, that generally means that's the power that they maintain. And then it's also very important to put them on a load. And finding the particular load is difficult because we have to have a series of these in order to have enough to actually power something. And you need them made identical. You need to have all your standards down because they are very particular. The cells are very particular. And when they work together in series or parallel, they're exactly the same.
I love what
Dude,
you're
she's
doing.
cool.
It's awesome. Everybody, woohoo. Yes, even Carla can have a free energy device.
I have some extraordinary power cells that are not these little cylinders, but they are totally different forms. They give off AC and DC.
Agreed, Bikini Truther.
And one of them actually created a force field, is all I can say it was. And I'll show you that in a clip later. And mutated.
Yo, what's up, Aaron? I see you, Corbett.
So these are
mutated
extraordinary pieces
slow, bro.
of technology, very simple to make, and they really are our way of breaking free of power grid.
Dude, I tried to get a job at NASA, but there wasn't any space.
Boys and girls and children
Get it?
and hobbits and old folks that haven't really grown up.
So maybe
All
I
right.
shared another link.
Hutchinson's YouTube page. I'm going to post the link for everybody in the live chat. Make sure to go check her out, as absolutely great work right there.
So wait, what does Hutchinson call himself in the wig?
Oh, Carla Knipschen Baroness.
So his name is John Hutchinson, but he calls himself Carla Knipschen Ganes. But everyone knows him as Nancy. I like it.
No, his wife is Nancy.
That's
Right, the YouTube channel. I got it. I'm sorry. Good job.
I'm trying to find his actual page. I don't know.
Oh, he has a separate page from Nancy. Okay.
Yeah, that's the
All
first I actually
videos were
saw
from
Nancy's page. So thank you for sharing that, Charlie.
That's interesting. So she's got her own. Interesting. Okay. Legit.
Do you want to show a little bit more of the Graviflyer or the coils, or what you're thinking of doing next with it, Charlie? Or should I play a little video of it?
Yeah, that might help explain to Andreas. I have the clip of all the flights of Alex Chekhov. You allowed me to share that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That
I also
would be
put
a
in
good one to
in
give
the,
reference of what who you bought it off of and the results you're looking to reproduce, essentially. The original inventor of this Graviflyer thing. Device.
I've also been posting links in the chat. Yeah, Patent Guru for NASA's patent we were talking about earlier, and the other this new crystal video, crystal power cell with someone else using it to power clocks. That might explain it better.
Interesting.
Yes.
Thanks, Brittany L, for the super chat. Live streaming on multiple channels. Oh yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions you want answered, feel free to super chat away. I'm sure that this is a good time to get Charles and Bernie and me if you want, but to answer questions about things. And it looks like Charles might have some answers that you might be interested.
Frolov's hat. Alexander Frolov was a Russian scientist. He's not answering emails anymore after the war in Russia, but he had an advanced propulsion book where he explained this device, which everyone has nicknamed Frolov's hat after him. It kind of looks like a top hat. Oh, here you go.
Wow.
And this wire is high voltage positive, and it goes to a plate in the center here. And there's this acrylic, which is dielectric, meaning it'll prevent the charge from going from the center to the outer or ground. And that difference in charge will create lift.
Oh, the difference. Okay.
Yeah, and we've had this on mechanical scales, and it's shown weight loss of about 1/3 from Tran Nam, which is a Vietnamese APEC participant, and he sent me this design to verify. So I've been trying to get it to lose 1/3 its weight as well.
From Vietnam, you said?
Yes.
Wow, interesting. So there's free energy work all around the world and propulsion and everything. Wow, that's interesting.
So you see the Graviflyer, the hover coil, Frolov's hat, and the gyroscope device. About those 4 are the ones I've been working on. In the back, here's one of Alex Chekhov's gravitometer. So he uses this with the Graviflyer to detect the fields around it. So they'll have these that are connected to a analog meter and we just measure the high voltage around it. Like you mentioned, the wireless energy from the Tesla coil is one of the fields it picks up on, but there's also interaction with the high voltage DC on the plates that are counter spinning, and the combination of those fields can be picked up by this meter. Any other electronics within 10 feet of it, though, seem to get fried. So a lot of those videos are from further away where the electronics won't get damaged. But this device is used near it because it's analog. There's no micro chips in it. It won't get fried from like the high EMP, high energy fields around it.
Dang.
So you see this in some of his earlier videos, and then I bought the first kit from him.
Here,
So
do you want to
ship-
bring it just closer to the screen and just kind of hold it still for a second? Just bring it right to the center there. Show some of the, start at the base of it, and and bring it even like a little closer.
Okay.
Bring it down, yeah, and then just keep going. Just keep going. It's like a centerfold for electronics.
Yeah.
That looks great though.
Thought you would
Wow.
like this. Just how it looks. Like how it looks.
It
But,
is kind of like, it does
pretty
kind of look like the hand. It's like a robot hand from a horror movie, but at the same time, also a very beautiful piece of machinery.
a lot of his work shows more function than form, so he didn't really focus on making it look pretty. He just threw a bunch of stuff together. He has from a scrapyard, and yeah, was able to get it to work. So his equipment's really quickly made, but with rapid prototyping, you could go through a lot of iterations and get it to work. Yeah, Ghostbusters. A lot of people say try meter and Ghostbusters.
Yeah, what do you think about
It is essentially a Ghostbuster device. Like, you're picking up these energy fields that would be the exoplasm, or like the energy, the EM fields that are sometimes detected in haunted places.
Well, do you give any credence
That's
to
a real life Ghostbuster tool.
That's the question. Do you believe in any kind of supernatural? Let's say more like, what do you think is in the energies, or do you think there's consciousness? Go for it.
I've been studying a skull experiment. They're physical mediumship. So they've been meditating to communicate with the dead, and they got EVPs, electronic voice phenomena. And they're one of the largest. I don't know, you guys probably haven't heard of them, but they've done the most research, I believe, in that. They're part of the Society of Psychical Research, SPR, and they have a documentary.
Which group is this again?
The Skull Experiment. Yeah,
You got a link
Skull
for that one?
Dang.
Maybe let's play that.
I'm gonna start interviewing the dead. I decided recently. That's my new plan. It's gonna be great.
Sounds good.
I will happily go on that program with you. I've had a few experiences in my life that we will talk about on another show, but something else for sure. There's a whole nother realm, reality, and universe that exists within the folds of our own, essentially.
That's for sure. I know Jeremiah's talked about how he's like, he didn't really believe in a lot of weird mumbo jumbo, but then he was like, you know what? I'm in this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to ask for Nikola Tesla to, like, whatever that means, manifest in me. You know what I mean? And from there, he was like channeling something. I mean, there's no, Jeremiah is a lot of things. Brilliant savant and a channel.
But I haven't acted on it yet. But that's like pretty crazy you say that, because I literally have had my own parallel thoughts on that.
Yeah, I shouldn't be busting his own story. He could tell it better than me, obviously. But it's fascinating, and I think as someone who doesn't come from, I don't really think mystically necessarily. What hit me was like the Chernobyl ghost thing, because the Chernobyl ghost thing, they had some ghost hunters, not even the main group, right? Because they didn't even want to go to get nuclear radiation on them, so they send these other guys, and then there's like desks flipping up, people, like sounds of kids screaming in the haunted classroom. But the main thing was, and I was like, whatever, that could all be faked or something. Why would they? But they could. That their batteries drained down in all the corners, like all of the energy that was being sucked out of their tools. I was like, okay, wait. If you Dr. Manhattan some kids in a school, yeah, okay, I could see how that would be connected to the amount of energy that's allowed to keep that daimon running, right? Or whatever that ends up. Dude, the zeitgeist. Okay, scale experiment with Robin Foy.
The skull experiment. So Robin Foy recently passed away, but the name is.
It preloaded 30 minutes in. Where should I?
That's an interesting part. So that is the germanium receptor. Yeah, that's called the TEC, transdimensional communicator. So when they were doing their seances, they put film in a lockbox. So none of the participants could enter, and it hadn't been developed, and no pictures would be taken with it. But after the seance, they would develop the film. They would get drawings on it. So they got one from TAE, which they later found out was Thomas Alva Edison spirit, and it was designed for a device to help with getting EVPs or communication. So I built the second one for the team, and I shipped it to them, and they're currently testing with it with some results.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because I was interested
So
so much in this group that I helped them. Yeah.
You've
That's right.
built one of these devices and shipped it to them, and they're currently using it, experimenting with it.
Yes. Exactly.
Base Charlie. So what is the skull experiment amount? Like, is there any, can you just talk about it, or is there any pictures, or do you want to just try to explain it?
It's hard to sum it up, but basically, same skull, because that was the name of the city it was created in, and they were trying to get physical medium shipped in forms of like EVPs and app ports. So that is when an object will appear in the room, even though they're locked in and no one else, that people have been searched before they entered the room.
Right.
And
we just did a show yesterday talking about green and how sometimes things were veiled, like the green spirit. Sorry to keep going.
But they'll get physical apports like coins or rocks or flowers will just appear in the room, and it appears like a thud on the table. And they've written multiple books on this effect, and they've done a pretty good job of documenting. And they currently have been recording a lot of it on analog video and audio, and they need help converting that to digital, start sharing online. But there's other groups that have recreated the procedure that they use to get this effect, and they call them circles. So there's multiple circles now around the world getting the same effects, but still a lot of people don't know about this group or research they've done. So I definitely recommend researching more into it.
How do you think it can work that
amazing.
EVPs can? How do you think EVPs are able to pick up on this stuff? I mean, it seems true. Obviously, all of the electronic technology ever in history was built literally for that purpose, and they decided commercial television was like a good second if they couldn't get the ghosts. But so how do you think it works that there'd be an electronic or radio connection beyond the veil? Like, what do you think's going on?
Yeah, and this group, what they focus on is getting three forms of energy combined into one. So there's human energy and nature's energy of the earth and spirit's energy. And the combination of that, plus some other work that the spirit team does in the background, they're able to get communications for a short period of time while they're in a dark room doing this, seance. And the TDC was the way to improve that, by using a piece of germanium on two coils with high inductance. It kind of works like a microphone for the spirits.
That's like so fascinating, especially with some of the things Jeremiah has shared with me privately of a couple other people's like crazy coil experiments that they did. And like this, one of them he was recently told about had like, it was almost like a liquid bubble that like came out of it, and then it like hit a chandelier and made part of the chandelier disappear for a part of time, and then came back. But it was like this solid liquidy goo sort of thing. And like then when we get into ball lightning or the orbs and all of that, and especially the orbs and the potential that they could be higher dimensional entities, spirits, souls, or beings.
That's a question I was going to ask Charlie, if it's all right to ask you that. Do you think these are ghosts, or do you think these are spirits or gods or demons, or like what's on the other side of that Ouija board?
It's a combination of all that. This spirit team that these mediums work with kind of work to filter out a lot of the dangerous and evil spirits, and they just allow certain groups to communicate through them. Sometimes they even allow relatives to communicate with people in the circle, and then that's where they could ask them questions and things that they would know. And they time and time again shown that they're talking to the real relatives in the spirit form.
So, but like, and pardon the pun, but like, where the hell are these dead people? So are they like, why are they talking from, if they're in heaven, shouldn't they be jet skiing? And if they're in hell, shouldn't it be like under enough lead cave wall that they can't communicate?
Now they say what's commonly known about like heaven and hell and afterlife is not exactly what they experience from the spirits and the spirit team. So a lot of people need to be re-educated after they passed away and they realize the afterlife is something different. but time is different for them as well. So they don't understand so much past and future. They're able to communicate a little beyond all that. So that's another complicated aspect of this.
That is interesting. It's like the Tartarus. It sounds like the Egyptian death or something. There's like a veiled existence still.
Should I play a bit of that video
Sure.
from that section? Okay.
This blueprint on an open film psychically, and asked us to sort of produce this device, which was done. It took a long time, several months, almost a year, to really get it going properly. But this little device was plugged again into the amplifier of a cassette tape recorder, and eventually we were able to get two-way conversation between the spirit world and ourselves. But because it was known as the trans-dimensional communicator, we were also able to get two-way conversation between ourselves and ETs. And that had been the intention right from the very beginning. The very first person to speak to us through that device, and his conversation lasted 15 minutes, was Thomas Edison himself. And he wrote a little note when he gave us this blueprint on film. He wrote a little note there to say, if you follow these instructions, it will help you with the communication. And he signed it. TAE, his initials. Of course, when this happened, we actually had one of the SPR members was sitting with us. He immediately got in touch with the Edison Institute, who sent him a copy of a memo that was from 1926 that Edison had signed with his initials. And when they compared the initials on that memo to the initials on the film that we got, it was virtually identical. But that device was being developed all the time. And we were told that this TDC device and the way it was being used included a system they called the OdySee system, and that's the interdimensional oral language interpretation system. So that basically, if we were getting a communication that came from ETs and not from the spirit world, it would very, very be one that sounded very robotic to us, because this OdySee system had been put into place, and it meant that however that particular ET or personality thought would go through the system and come out in English, but a robotic English.
That's really fascinating. So what you're suggesting is that there's some overlap, I'm going to say in hyperspace, between the spirit world and the other dimensional world of alien beings.
That's exactly true, and that's exactly what we came to believe. We had our own proof of this because there were at least 2 or 3 occasions when we actually had a miniature UFO flying around the room at Skull that actually stopped in front of each and every one of the sitters to show us exactly. And this was a sort of little triangular shaped thing that had cabin windows lit up. And it was absolutely quite amazing. So that occurred.
Either you know who Dr. Jeffrey Michelin
we
is?
had the teleportation in the circle of more than one.
Michelin's the bald guy, right?
Themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, I like
there
it.
was one little guy that we called Blue because he left.
Do you want to pause for a second, Bernie? Pause it for a second.
Film.
Yeah,
Dr.
sorry,
Michelin.
Charlie. Elaborate for
Yeah.
my audience has no idea.
Yeah. He was the first to get a PhD in parapsychology, and he's getting close to retirement now, but he's been going for many years doing.
Bernie, can
all
you go
kinds
back
of
a picture
research.
to show Michelin's face? He was just about 10-30 seconds earlier than this.
So he's done great interviews like this.
There we go. Right there.
Where he's not afraid to study the paranormal. So a lot of it. And he's done great ones in remote viewing and afterlife. And he won the first place in Bob Bigelow's $1 million afterlife challenge.
Oh,
Jeffrey Michelin submitted the paper. Yeah, that won first place and got $500,000. for that.
He's the winner of that. That's fascinating. I didn't know that. I
Yeah, you should
mean,
definitely read that paper. It's good.
yeah. So his idea then that he says right here, and this about they're going into, we're about to hear, is that aliens or extraterrestrials, or he didn't quite say this, but demons, light beings, something beyond the veil of extraterrestrial that's like interdimensional, interradio beings are connected with ghosts, and our EVPs are picking up something that is. What do you think that means exactly? What do you think he's saying?
I think there's a lot of different beings that were maybe long dead that are trying to communicate with us, and through this process, physical mediumship, you could get audio, video recordings, even physical materials and apports in the room. The skull experiment
Essentially
mentioned.
access or technology to bridge into a higher dimensional conscious universe.
Collective? Is it a
realm.
collective? That's the question. Is it a Akashic collective? Because are you or
That's where the Akashic collective would exist theoretically, as well as any of these, like, for instance, higher dimensional, like alien races or something, or like light beings, or the spirits, the souls, all consciousness, and essentially even probably our own spirit and consciousness would all simultaneously be existing both in this third dimension as well as this higher density conscious dimension throughout all of space-time.
I
Yeah,
mean,
even
'cause, like,
Dr.
oh, go ahead,
Michelab,
try.
doesn't know exactly what happens in the afterlife, but he's kind of got a lot of different stories and people from different groups that have verified similar things. So he thinks that there's definitely an afterlife, but not sure what happens. Some people might still maintain their self, others might dissolve into oneness of the universe.
This might be like a sidetrack, but I'm curious, what do you think about the multiverse or like dark matter? What do you think about the idea that there's multiple yous in different dimensions or something like that?
Well, I don't know. I guess if they're infinite, then if one were able to communicate with another multiverse, then that would happen infinite amount. So we would see a lot of that, but we're not. So maybe it's something that can only interact with occasionally. But
So if there's another dimension that's like, let's say there's a dimension where you died today, but then this is the dimension where you live longer. Then there's another dimension that's longer than that. Like theoretically, if there's an infinite amount of dimensions, there's at least a range of those dimensions which you're immortal, right? And so you could be talking to the immortal strain of yourself.
Yeah, I think more, instead of there being like an infinite amount of dimension, there's probably like a dimension that we can't perceive in the three or dimension or even fourth dimension of time. So there would appear that there might be beings that live in these other higher dimensions, and that might be one way to explain what happens to the spirit when you die. Might go to a higher dimension as well.
So when you think of that, also, are we talking about dimensions in like the comic book sense where they're like other worlds, or are we like multiverse theory, or are we talking in dimensions like physics, like there's geometry like X, Y, and Z or Z, and there's several dimensions beyond that, like 10 dimensions of distance and time and space and change? Is that, how do you look at dimensions?
Yeah, I think probably more towards the second one with the physics multiple.
So these are, it's like Pac-Man. Like we're basically the lower awareness of something that's like inside of awareness of a higher, something to that effect, like something that's aware of more space.
Essentially, yeah. Like think of a stick man on a piece of paper existing on the two-dimensional plane, and you're looking in from the third-dimensional plane. That if you've ever experienced an out-of-body experience, whether meditating, whether astral projection, or on psychedelic drugs, or a near-death experience, when you get that out-of-body, you're then all of a sudden, when it's happened to me, usually I'm like instantly plugged into like this collective universal consciousness source or something, while also like being exposed to way more than you can ever possibly comprehend while in the physical.
Here, you know what? Can you let me see. Can you how much is? Can you put this?
So I pause it there for a minute. Quite the intense, higher dimensional, conscious, spiritual, universal, almost philosophical, but in the same time, reality of transdimensional consciousness and understanding it through what we were talking about in this conversation, Charlie C., Andreas Sertis, and me, and that tonight in part 2 of the Ghoulish Halloween special, Charlie will be coming back and going a lot more into the skull experiments and the science behind it, as well as his what we've dubbed the Ghostbuster gun there, where it was. Here we go. This guy. But what time is that at? Okay, that's at 1:14. So what good day, Magic Treehouse, Richie. How you doing, brother? Noel Axis Shaw, Jill Dub My Sister, Evil and Fango, Simon Claret, Isabella Live 2.0, Cheech McDuck, Brian Evans, Sherry Ives Sister. I guess part 2, but Campbell has this too, so never mind. We'll talk about it a little bit. This Sherry Ives sent both myself and Autodidactic Campbell a copy of this wonderful document, which is literally higher dimensional mathematics, geometries, as well as dissecting the Giza Plateau, the Great Pyramids, all the numbers, mathematics that are into it. It says it's the oldest map on Earth, the 33,000 or the 33 map of Atlanteans, and it connects all mathematics, sacred geometry, and ancient society and building and architecture and the science of it all. Part of what geoglyphology is, but this is in a whole nother higher mathematical sets, higher dimensional maths. There's several different sets of fractal higher dimensional mathematics, such as, for instance, the 369 vortex mathematics, and then the pi golden ratio. Oh, goodness gracious. And then there's the prime quadruplet is another set of higher dimensional mathematic fractals. But anywho, I'm rambling. It's all built into the Great Pyramids at Giza, and that how many pages here? It is 36 pages. I had a feeling it was going to say that, plus the magic squares on the back, but 36-page pamphlet magazine that explains the Atlian map of 33, world's oldest 33 map of Atlians. And it is a dissection of the pyramids. And if you haven't looked into the pyramids before and like what the chambers add up to, what all the sides and all the insane mathematics, it's pretty much every different one is a specific number or measurement of our solar system, universe, Earth, and it's ridiculous and crazy. Anywho, I'm rambling on that. Exactly, Gerald. So we'll dive into at least one page or a couple pictures of it, the first chapter or something like that. for the Brucey bonus in tonight's part 2. The full one will be done with me and Campbell, because he also was sent a copy by Sister Sherry Ives. Andrea73, hello. Happy Halloween. Gerald, you're coming on tonight. We're going to have a live call-in at the end of the Year of the Coil Halloween special tonight. So anybody who wants to show their face and I guess party, we'll have a Halloween Year of the Coil party. Woo! Enough of that. It'll be more Charlie C, Gerald, Jeremiah, Sarah. You can hop on if you want, sister, as well as Richie 007, the Magic Treehouse, and in fact anybody will be welcome at the end of tonight's stream. What can I say? That's just how it's got to be. Come in, ask questions, be a part, and wahaha! Thank you, CJDV. That is something else right now we are going to momentarily pause for, so I can make sure to share it with everybody, and everybody that is on Twitch. If you have a Twitch account, we are actually also live on Twitch right now, and I am about to post the link for the Twitch stream where CJDV is also in that room, as well as our both YouTube channels, CJDV, YouTube Legend, PMG, Project Moon Gold, Community Legend, BurnEye Community Legend, Autodidactic Room. He's from New Zealand. He's a brother. He's into crypto. He's awesome. And he's currently live on the Twitch streaming page that we're all live on. Oh my goodness. It's the multiverse. It's the freaking Matrix. It's the metaverse. I think I finally got it. Here we go. There is the Twitch stream, or my Twitch channel. Please go subscribe if you're into Twitch. I'm going to be working in Twitch a lot more, especially 2 weeks from now, coming up at the next Moonlight Party, where we will be on live streaming a music event, but also I'm gonna try to put together the next 2 weeks. The next episode of Science of Sound will be recorded and live from a live music dance event. Gravy Boat is now following. Awesome. Thank you, Gravy Boat. Thank you for all of you going over and making sure our brother is CJDV not alone. Magic Treehouse, Richie, the simulacrum, he. Oh my goodness. If I registered that before putting up, we won't go in there tonight, but it is today. But that is a horror story for another day. And since it's Halloween, sister, Grave Bow, Wolf, I think. Am I seeing it right? Yes. Oh, brother. Oh my God. I don't know. I can't see anything. On that note, back to Charlie. The skull. There we go. The ghoulish day. That is Halloween. The science of transdimensional consciousness. There we go. The science of transdimensional consciousness. That is what this study needs to be called. That is what needs to be understood and delved into. And part of my unified field theory of geometry and everything that I've been working on is, as of so many, but anywho, is consciousness is also completely scalable on this geometric field energy level, or universal geometric level, and as well as energy. But dimensional consciousness is what we need to start grasping at and working on the technological science side of it. And this Ghostbuster gun, essentially, or this energy reader monitor that Charlie built and sent over to this group, if this technology can be expanded upon, taken seriously, and developed a bit more accurately, imagine everybody having it next to yourself, whether you're meditating, having an out-of-body experience at the hospital, seeing spirits, souls leave the bodies, or even taking a shit ton of mushrooms or acid or DMT and seeing your body get out of yourself, and just endless possibilities. Also, with remote viewing, all sorts, but also the verifying actual ghosts and portal places. I've experienced several entities. Most couple were through the mirrors, but it also we see it in the window from outside. I'm talking about at the Hart Mansion. It's a haunted mansion that as a child I was friends with the famous WWF, now WWE, Hart family. Where I live in Coach Hill, Calgary, only a block away from my childhood home, is the famous Hart Mansion. And I knew a bunch of the third generation of Harts. For instance, Tanya Hart, one of the granddaughters of Smith Hart, Grandpa Hart, the founder of Stampede Calgary Wrestling, that then grew up and sold into WWF. And then he had his sons, Brett and Owen Hart. I knew Owen a little, met him several times, in the mansion and whatnot, and when they're training and whatnot, as a kid. But I was friends with Tanya Hart, very close friend of mine. Her father Smith, I became good friends with. Oh my goodness. Also, though, Bret Hart, also growing up a bit, as a kid, seeing him in the house and whatnot. But rest in peace, Owen Hart. Rest in peace, British Bulldog, who I also got to know a couple times when they were all wrestling together, or meet a couple times. But Jim Neidhart, the Anvil Hart, he wrestled a lot with Hulk Hogan back in the day. He's from that era, but was also partners with Bret Hart for a while. I became really good friends with Jim the Neidhart Anvil, hung out with him when I turned 18 to 23 for 5 years. We go to the pubs, the bars together all the time. Great times. Anyways, point of the story being, it's also a tragedy of a place. Oh, forgive me, Hearts. I forget the grandson that died of flesh eating in that house. I should know it. It'll come back to me. I went to school with him. As well as the Owen tragedy. But before that, Smith Hart bought that mansion for cheap because some other classic haunted story, some family got murdered there or something before they moved in and spent 3 generations in that house. But all the craziness that went on there was always crazy parties, the wrestling dungeon, God knows what. Anywho, not going into that. Before any of what I just said happened, this location was also the original Springbank Field Hospital for God knows how long. It's a classic mud flood mansion. It with new eyes, I never imagined, but it's actually crazy now that I think about it. I could never understand why this giant main window thing was on the ground floor. It seemed like it was a floor too short, and it does have several floors underground, what they call the wrestling dungeon. Anywho, with new eyes, it's a great mud flooding candidate. I will be going and checking it out, probably with Frankie Fingers of New West Reset. Shout out to you, brother. To everybody else that is still here or has joined, Sorry, I got a little sideways there, rambling. Happy Halloween to you all. Charlie's going to be back tonight. He's going to be going more into what I've been trying to talk about, the skull experiment, and that is the science of this transdimensional consciousness and life, whether it's our own spirits, our own consciousness, our own out-of-body experience, our own going to the dream realm, whether it's connecting to source consciousness, whether it's connecting to collective consciousness, whether you're on psychedelic experience, whether you're meditating, whether you're being attacked by another hyperdimensional energy or life or demon, some call, possibly exact same science and scalable energy level of existence, as well as any aliens, whether they're hive-minded, whether they're fourth or fifth dimensional consciousness, aka quantum consciousness, aka your consciousness exists throughout space-time instead of just this one fraction of a moment of time that we are in. And yeah, as that's a whole nother talk for another day. I'm not going to get everybody lost in that right now, but the science, the technology of it, the leading people and groups doing it is the skull experiments known as, and Charlie C has been working with them, researched up on a whole bunch of it, sent them one of his ghost buster gun arrays, and right now we have to pay attention. Exactly. All right. So I just posted the link for the skull experiment website. We'll be going in depth tonight with that for part 2 of the Ghoul of Halloween and this technology, and getting Charlie to talk about it, as well as Jeremiah and Gerald to talk more about the coils. I'm so looking for that. Forward to that, Gerald. Thank you, brother. I know Jeremiah and Charlie are both probably going to, I'm not going to say excrement, but jump up and down and scream with joy when they hear that this is actually happening tonight and you're coming on to talk more about it and make all the secret sauce happen and knowledgeable. It's going to be beyond epic. We are one growing, awesome, amazing community doing it all together. Year of the Coil, Halloween Part 2. All right, we are 1 hour in. It is 6 a.m. in Calgary, Alberta, where I am right now. I didn't even tell the story aspects of the actual ghost. So Tanya, when I was like in grade 6, I was over there and she was like traumatized and like we were becoming good friends, and she's like, man, this freaking entity, like she called it ghost, keeps haunting me. She's like, it appears in the mirrors. And then she's like, it also walks around and stuff. And it's like, one time I saw it go through a door when I was like all alone. Another time I did see it like appear directly in the mirror. And like, every time you remember it, the hair on the back goes up and like the experience comes back to you every time, and it's like I'm prey or what the fuck. Anywho, same thing every time I talk about the goddamn pterodactyl thing and Drumheller and the freaking Sasquatch. When you experience the Sasquatch freaking howl scream and the moving through the forests and all of that, it's these, yeah. Anywho, it's like life or death. If I'd imagine if you were in the front lines of a war or something. I don't know if someone's trying to kill you or hunt you. I have no idea. Luckily, I thank God I have not had to experience that. May there be peace on earth coming soon, and don't pick up the gun and kill each other, people. We need to come together so we can work together to get off planet instead of being stuck here killing each other, and any chance of us joining that trans-dimensional multiverse universe of everything else. Anyways, the science of it. Oh my. Someone out there just got a boner, Gerald. All right, too far? Okay. What should I play? what does everybody want to hear right now? Back to, I'll be doing more of setting up the monoatomic zinc production as I play. Should I finish off the rest of the Charlie, Andreas Zertis, and I podcast, or has everybody here already said it or seen it? Or should I play because it's Halloween also? And shout out to Andreas Zertis. We now stream together on the same at the same time, where I've got a couple weekly shows with him. The McCanada panel I'm always on, and we're also now doing a science panel one every week, and it will also be on Andreas Zertis' channel. I will play part of the Red Eye where we talk about the different red light, blue light shift and the green green beings. And actually, you know what? Do I start that right now, or do I finish this one? Philadelphia experiment. That is another one to go into, but not tonight. Not tonight. Very soon. All right, Kate, we're gonna, let's see, how much of this one is left?
This picture up for a second.
If you hit share screen, then I can put it in. Yeah.
Oh, that's even easier. Well,
actually, no, this is some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, why did they
goes
change
into
it to
even
present?
more, so.
Like, what kind
We'll
of
play this
nonsense are they trying to pull on us? Hold on.
Cannot say I have talked or heard about the rape
Not
ghost
super
before.
important.
That doesn't
Just a
sound
psychological
pleasant,
Rorschach.
but I've
But
probably
that whole vibe
seen
of
or
being
talked about
Pac-Man
it or
is
heard about
that you're a
it
flatlander
in a
that is
different
inside of a hollow
term.
spheroid.
Such a
So you
horrible
go
term.
left and you come
Hopefully
out right.
nobody
You go,
has
you know,
been through
because
it,
the
and if
infinite
you
planes,
have,
bro.
and
You
you
go
need
out
any,
on the X, you come out the other side of X.
support in working
So this
through
is
it.
this is like a really
privately,
psychologically terrifying game.
Don't
There are
be
these
afraid to
ghosts
reach out,
or monsters. I'm not sure which.
to
If you look into the original
people,
story of names,
including
they're
myself.
actually more like Cthulhu things.
Anyhow,
But you're consuming their souls, right? That's basically the deal. And your character doesn't know anything more than what's right in front of its face. It's like Tron, but you're the user, you're the creator. So you're able to say, hey, I'm from a higher dimension than you, Pac-Man. I see that if you go left, you come out right. Like that you're inside this infinite plane is not so infinite. It's really just a certain amount of finite space that you're allowed to exist in. And if you give me, the user, control over your body, Pac-Man, then, you know, I will possess you and you will know more. You will have awareness of these higher dimensional planes. So, and I can't think of a more terrifying game really than Pac-Man.
interdimensional Pac-Man.
It might be happening, yeah, to us in 3D. But with the
Exactly.
fourth dimensional
Yeah.
games, yeah. I've also got a
Parasites, demonic parasites or whatnot that people talk about that they experience and stuff like that.
I got a link to the electronic voice phenomena EVP from Sir Winston Churchill, which is one of the first they've uploaded from the skull experiment. It's only about a minute long, but you get an idea of how they communicate with these spirits. And the audio, is a little different than how we normally talk to each other.
If somebody wants to make a Tupac Man meme, that's totally fine with The Exorcist or something. And yeah, Kanye, I get it. Yeah, bring him in. That's fine too. Are you you're pulling that up? Burn man.
Patrick, remind me.
I paused it there just for a little context. This is a recording from the skull experiments of where they're doing a seance, and this is the voice that comes through. Essentially, it's kind of similar to Wiccans and the craft of Wiccan, or On the dark side, I don't even want to talk about the dark arts, but the esoteric arts of the spiritual side of, I guess, spiritual alchemy, really. And that spiritual alchemy is needing an episode series all on its own, from ranging from auras to astral projection to meditation to sacred geometry to the higher dimensional existence and planes. But getting off topic, back to the skull experiment recording of a channeled slash. So yeah, no, this wasn't channeled. Sorry, this wasn't through someone in the group. This was a seance where they I guess called it up within the circle. They call it circles. Anywho, I could play a way better one that I found. Oh, what up, Campbell? But I'll be doing it in the part 2 tonight with Charlie because he knows what video segments are copyrighted and what aren't, and I don't want to get this all shut down. But we'll be playing going through in depth the skull experiments, all the recordings, all the of captured entities through the seances, through the practices, using these machines while also recording in video and in audio. So it's a very ghoulish trans entity dimensional Halloween episode right now, and come in later in the Matrix tonight when part 2 comes on. But really it's part 3 because what I'm playing on screen right now is the first one. But I'm gonna shut up. Get back to the skull experiments. Happy Halloween, everyone.
In here to say a word to you tonight. I am delighted to let you know that I am still around. If there is any call for a strong leader, I shall do my very best. But I have to say to you, I have not forgotten the book which I wish to write. And it will be brought to you as time goes by, dictated by me. And I hope that you will be in a position to show my works to the world. The Adventures of Winston in Wonderland. I do beg your pardon for taking up your time, but I'm afraid that I was never one for standing on the sideline when I could slip in and do some work. God bless you all.
Dude, who is the guy who really did that though? You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Because like Winston Churchill never did his own voice. There was the guy who did the voice for him. It wasn't Bennett. It's like Alan. What is it? It's like, hold on. Norman Shelley. Is it Norman Shelley? You know this whole thing? Because like Winston Churchill didn't do his own speeches. So the guy who did the voices for like, we will fight them in the air, in the field, in the plane. It was like the guy, Norman Shelley, who did Winnie the Pooh for BBC. So it was, I mean, imagine like going back and forth. Like you're like, we will fight them in the 100-acre woods with Eeyore and Piglet. And I don't know. But still, amazing speech. Like, good job, Tavistock, MI9, mind control. I get a little weird about Britain. I don't know. I gotta calm down. I apologize.
Well, there's good reason because they're most likely the center of the parasitic control.
As they wear a Croatian flag shield shirt, so I feel like there's a whole thing there with like, you know, when you've been a Slav as long as I have in slavery by the Brits, man, you had to worry about like their whole idea. And like most of free energy was shut down by the British. You know, if you look at trains, you used to have free energy trains. You have the underground mills. Have you seen the turbine systems that they have? all of the DUMBs, like the 1800s, 19th century, was full of free energy systems that were run collecting electricity before Tesla, you know. And we think of Tesla as this sort of like monolithic guy. There's so many people, kind of like Charlie, you were saying about I forget the name of the guy with the satellite. Which one was it with the satellite who invented the technology that's almost
Mike Gamble.
Mike Campbell?
Gamble.
Mike Gamble. Yeah, I mean, so similarly, I mean, in the 1800s, you have people running these vacuum tube systems, pneumatic tube systems, and how big did they get? Big enough to actually move entire people. I mean, it's crazy, all the technology that's sort of discarded and run by like Niagara Falls. I mean, if you've seen like the Sao Paulo had free electric, what's it called? Waterfall run hydroelectric systems for their streetcars. They had electric streetcars in the 1800s. So did Minneapolis, Indianapolis, Galveston, Texas. Galveston, Texas was like this jewel of the world, right? Like more fantastic than Paris with free
and then
energy.
The pictures of after they canceled it out and those same electric trolleys being pulled by horses on the same rail tracks. It's ridiculous.
When you know David Brin's The Postman novel is real, but it already happened, it's kind of a lot to take in. You know what I mean? Yeah. You familiar with that? Did you ever see that? The Postman, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, that was a great movie.
Kevin Costner, bro.
Essentially.
Yeah, Kevin Costner, raised in the 90s, acid rain, no more rain. Everyone's living in this sort of Burning Man, Tom Petty, Renaissance fair cowboy world where there's just like, you know, you're living at like a leftover gas station that hasn't been run in 20 years. It's like post-apocalyptic. It's Terminator without the robots. I recommend The Postman. It's good. It's good.
Yep. So there's a medium that might be doing the voice for a lot of these EVPs. Sometimes this people speak through a person, but sometimes they're independent voice, and it's hard to distinguish them unless you heard like the whole audio clip and you know who's in the room.
So you think it's really that? Sorry, just you think there actually are? It's capable of producing its own sound waves, like sono vibration. What do you? How?
It's called independent voice. So the voice will come from another part of the room and transfer around, even where there's no way a person could be there to be speaking it. So sometimes older seances, they would use ectoplasm, which is a energy that the mediums would produce from their body, and it looks like a mist, and that would be used to create like the organs, the lung, and the trachea and the throat to create the sound. But recently, the independent voice is done without that ectoplasm.
Wow.
So this is
fascinating.
So even if you don't believe like audio and you want to see some of the physical evidence of the videos from the groups, this is
if anybody's talking to the dead, it's Winston Churchill. So Enthagen by contact beyond the Bernstein generator.
This is their device that they use to record.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know that one.
Ich existiere in meinen eigenen Augen nicht. Gibt es wirklich ein Gesicht? Oder ist ein Gesicht vielleicht nur eine Anhäufung unendlich vieler Masken?
German ghosts are creepy.
Ist das der Spiegel, der aus dem Tiefsten eines Menschen kommt? Was ist denn das? Eine Botschaft des Himmels. Diese Botschaft kann und muss jeder auf seine Art entschlüsseln. Es sind nur alles Versuche. Wir sind wieder zeigen uns.
German ghosts can't hurt you, Emily. German ghosts. Oh. And you don't think it's like, I mean, 'cause it kind of sounds like slowed down stuff. You don't think, what is it supposed to be that this is producing the voice through? The device is allowing for the electricity to generate. How's this? Because like I use AI to make voices. I could easily see a ghost using AI. That would be like the future. But how is it supposed to be working here?
I've seen some like what is it called? Like Golden Dawn? No, not that. Oh god.
Bro, what's the name of that group in Russia? Altria? Oh, sorry.
Crazy occult summoning practices where similar sort of, that were filmed like in the 80s, and similar sort of voices, entities like are recorded speaking, and like there's like this crazy boom sort of thing that like came and like shook the whole room and the camera like right before the voice came in and stuff. It's crazy the deeper you dive into the occult and the spiritual realm and portaling in between the two.
Brittany, if you're watching this, and you probably aren't, but if you remember the name of that group that made that Jackie AI, what is it called? It's a Russian Scientology like group, and they have a Chinese teddy bear that they've put new tech inside of, and it has better than GPT-3. It has some like Soviet like Putin ripoff that's even more gnarly. But the bear's named after Jackie Chan, so it's Jackie because they thought everyone loved Jackie. But they're like this weird Scientology cult, so they talk to ghosts and they talk to spirits and everything like that. And they're trying to manifest, like you know how Krishnamurti was supposed to be this theosophic Christ child. Well, this is going to be the AI Christ child. Is this Jackie Chan teddy bear Ruxpin doll that they're building? Oh, what's it called? Oh, Alatria or something like that.
I'm sorry to cut this short, but I have to get going to pick up the wife. But if you guys want to keep going, I can join in from my phone and keep the stream going if you want. Up to you two.
It's up to you. We could do it again. Also, Charlie, it's up to whatever you feel. If you have more content.
Weird. I didn't know if 4 in the morning where you are.
This was longer.
You're in Texas,
Anywho,
so you're probably
we can stream
2 or
anytime
1
to Andreas's
3 a.m.
channel now.
3
So
a.m.
we'll be
3
doing
a.m.
many more.
All right. Well,
yeah, it's good
with
stuff.
Andreas at least 2
We'll
weeks.
do it again.
He
For
might
an hour
even
and a
be
half.
definitely do it again. I want to start like we're gonna do swap
Campbell,
cast.
if you're
On
still
my
there,
side, I'll come up with a thumbnail. I'm thinking like
if you
real
want,
science
I
or
can
something
also
like that.
stream
I don't
this
know yet, but
Halloween
maybe with a
special
quiz.
on Autodidactic.
It's in the works,
Sure
and
for
this
free,
is the
or if
first.
you want to be
We'll
a part of it.
make this
but
the first
it
pilot.
is happening. It's
Essentially,
going to be
of it.
epic.
And Charlie, by all means, you'll be
Gerald
welcome on as
is
a
giving
permanent
the
panel member of the
universe
science
the
stream.
secret
We've already been
sauce
talking with
on
Jeremiah
the
about
coil
it a
technology
bit,
tonight,
and Jeremy
or today,
and well,
tomorrow morning
Zertis was
for
the
you, I
one that
guess.
approached me about
Happy
doing
Halloween,
it with you, and as we keep
Maru
integrating,
Mali
we will
girl.
be doing more and getting it going.
Good to
It's
see
gonna
you.
get pretty wild.
Long
Yep,
time. I need to.
stuff.
Fuck. I gotta.
Awesome.
Sorry, everybody.
Guys, if you have any
that I
questions on my
not
end of the
gotten
channel,
back
make sure
to
that you
with
ask them,
emails
and then make sure in the
and
Discord that you
on
sign up
the
tartarinova.com.
Anyone
Go to the
who's been trying to
Discord
get a
and
hold
you
of
can
me on
follow
Facebook,
the links for
I've
these
been
guys.
locked out
Charlie,
of
do you have
my
a YouTube
accounts
channel?
for a month
Yep,
and a
Charlie
half
C.
now. So
Cool. So Charlie's
also have to
YouTube channel
figure
will
out
start
that one
posting the
of these
videos
days.
on my Discord, so
there's
you'll
so
be,
much
it'll be
work.
very easy
It's
for you to find his
ridiculous.
scientific work.
Why
And
do I
as
have-
time goes on, if
Sorry. Don't know why I was talking over myself and Andreas there. Anywho, at any time now, we can be on Andreas Zertis' channel, as well as on Autodidactic, as well as on BurnEye, Mine's Third Eye, ScienceGuy. Campbell, you should also hook back up your Spiral Up and your Autodidactic 2 onto the StreamYard account, simply for the aspect of when we do short clips or when we do super live events like this Halloween special. If you want to be a part of it, we can start going live on all of the channels. Esra and Richie Rich, we can probably do it with you guys too if you want. What's Andreas Zertis and I figured out, the big breakthrough is that there's now an option with Google and YouTube that to get you onto the account, the professional account, to multi-stream. We no longer have to take your passwords. We can just hit a button and then it connects to your cell phone and your email. You okay it, and it goes through, and we don't have to be liable for having anybody else's passwords, which is a awesome big relief and makes it all the more realistic, I guess. Anywho, because it was a big hassle, remember, Sarah, when we hooked up my BurnEye channel to your guys' account. Anywho, whoever wants to stream the Halloween special part 2, Year of the Coil, coming up in 12 hours from now with Gerald's A Secret Sauce, Charlie C going more into detail of his Ghostbuster gun and the actual results of the experiments of the Skull Experiment Society using it. We will also be going more into Sherry Eyes. See, Campbell, if you actually show up for this one tonight, we can do just a chapter of the world's oldest 33 Atlantean map. That's Atlantean map. Sorry, not alien. Because I'm waiting for you to do it, Campbell. Anyways, we got poor Sherry. She sent us both, mailed it both to us, and we have yet to do it. So, at least one page or one little chapter of it today. Enough of me rambling. The second part here, this episode is one of Andreas Zertis' weekly panel shows called Red Eye, I believe. I was in the second hour of it this past week, and it was talking about the green light, green skin entities and cryptozoology, but once again getting into this Halloween, but trans-dimensional life consciousness, all of it, including aliens, demons, monsters, humans, ghosts, and everything in between. This is the perfect episode, and where it's really awesome because Andreas, very, very intelligent individual, and he's also a very great host and podcaster and panelist and all, like, great individual, perfect partnership. So I'll let you all decide, but we talk about the UV blue, purple, aura, orgone light wave energy, also aka cold electricity, and we also talk about the infrared, hot, burning demon, red light wave energy and spectrums. And essentially green is right in the middle, because when you're dealing with the science technical sides, RBG, red, blue, green. RBG, red, blue, green. That's the manifestation. And why are the green beings in between? So you know it's going to be good. Aha! And as I load this up, also the blue demigods and Crypta, the one where they're half animal, half human, demigod sort of things. But red, blue, green, indeed. So I'll start it here, and that's the, I guess, pretext of the blue demigod thing and beings of ancient lore. But also what I'm trying to spit out here is Andreas actually pales up the pictures of the blue-skinned people, that one of them being this senator in Montana in the U.S. who was drinking diatomic, aka you're gonna die from this atomic substance of silver, where he was actually blue and looked like a Smurf, and it's coming right up here. So yeah, do not ever drink the blue. And here we go.
Okay, blue or green people. When you say blue or green people, the first thing that comes to mind is still just going to be the Smurf guy who ate the metal. But which blue people are you talking about?
I think this is them, right? They're from the Americas, right? These people that had blue skin.
Was that the blue guy that was like a politician in Montana, or someone else?
This is the dude who did.
Yeah, so right here, I gotta say, don't be this guy. All right, don't drink the blue. You don't want to be a Smurf. Diatomic is gonna make you die. Not a Halloween prank. Don't play Papa Smurf by drinking the blue. You're gonna die atomic. The only thing, and you got to know that your pure source, like it's out of 24 karat gold that you're making your gold out of, or your zinc or your silver or whatever element it is. If it's an alloy, you also have a very high probability of poisoning yourself. You can only do the pure monoatomic white. And this is the same white molecular state that Sir Isaac Newton speaks of. All right, that's what I'm going to be showing you between Bert and Ernie right now, the process a little bit more. Back to what not to do, the blue, the Smurf, the don't drink the dye, because you will die like this guy did.
Didn't have proper colloidal metals, and so
Yeah.
he drank silver and he turned blue, and it was on like TV to make people like not get into colloidal metals to keep it like
Yeah,
weird.
he was the guy that drank diatomic instead, which is
People
oxidized
experiment
metal
with it,
instead
though.
of
They also go
monoatomic.
insane from
So yeah,
drinking
see
too
the
much.
blue
Do not try it at home.
diatomic.
Do not
That's when
drink
the
it.
metal,
Do your own
instead of
research.
being a single atom monoatomic,
You can easily
it
poison yourself
bonds
and
with
die.
an oxygen in the
Do not recommend
electrolysis process,
consuming it
thus
unless you
becoming
know
diatomic
your source
and
what the heck
becomes
you're doing.
highly toxic.
Is that what happens to copper?
The copper, gold, silver, any of the metals. I've done this transmutation to all of them, and then this pure white is the monoatomic single atom state that.
Bro, Mystic Food, please take a meme of that of just Bernie holding that jar of like white like fluid, because it definitely doesn't look like colloidal gold. That's what it doesn't look like, I'll tell you. But hey, you know what? Thoughts on green and blue, Bernie? Do you have any thoughts on green and blue?
Well, right, like all the legends of the, especially in East India and whatnot, of the demigods that were blue, that could fly, that lived hundreds or if not thousands of years. Apparently they could levitate, do telekinesis, and the story goes it was monoatomic gold that did that to them. But once again, if you're turning blue, you're diatomic and you're poisoning yourself. So
but did you see this on Egyptian blue? So this is what all the Egyptian blue was made of, and it was all made of copper. So it was all green. And so up until the 1600s, most of the pictures that we think of as blue were really green. And there's even pictures of green Shiva, green Rama, green Krishna, green Krishna. How about that? There's examples of if you can find the oldest, it's hard to find the green oldest, but there are green Rama. Maybe I'll do Rama. It should be Vishnu. How about that? Something. There you go. You start to find like the original versions are all this green material and the paintings were green, but the paintings are almost all gone. But you have like really prototypical paintings from the 6th century that refer to this as well. And then you have the Chinese with jade, right? So the jade China is more valuable than gold. Everyone had to wear these dog collars around their necks, and if you died, your buddy would pull it off, and it would be this whole other movie. But they had the dragon set. Where's the cool like little statues? My dad has this one from ancient China that's like this little tall Anunnaki guy made out of jade. So jade, this stone that's basically glass. What do you think about jade?
There's some crazy properties to it, like all the different gemstones, minerals, and metals. But the more I dive deeper into the ancient alchemy and science and writings, the more, as well as metaphysics, the more it comes out that an esoteric knowledge that it was this advanced science. And like the alchemists' philosophy is that these elements, these crystals, they're all alive. They all have their own energy, their own life force and spirits to them. So who knows, right? It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Kurt, do you have any thoughts on stones?
I love stones. They're cool, and I probably could go down a rabbit hole. I'll probably get going for tonight. So appreciate you.
Oh, is it late? Yeah, it is late for you, I guess. It's like an hour later. All right. Well, Kurt, don't worry about it. If you're exhausted, you don't have to like keep pushing into what the values of gems are in geology. That's okay.
No, you're good. I'm talking good on that note, though.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, Kurt.
All right, brother. Have a good
You
one.
guys
Thank you.
soon, bro. Yeah.
Have a
Hey
good night.
guys, make sure you get some American Time Machines music. I got the link in the chat or in the
For
description.
sure.
Thanks, yeah.
Thanks, brother. Good night.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
In terms of green color symbology, psychology of green, balance in nature, love is evergreen, physical effects, your body in the presence of green, your pituitary gland is stimulated, your muscles are more relaxed, and your blood and histamine levels increase, which leads to a decrease in allergy symptoms and dilated blood vessels, aiding in smoother muscle contraction. In short, green is calming, stress relieving, and a bit paradoxically invigorating. It's been shown to improve reading ability and creativity.
Well, and plants, the photosynthesis happens in that spectrum of green light wave. So it's like, is that the absorbable, usable life energy wave of light?
There, that's interesting. Yeah, we did this a bit, but let's go there. PAR density spectrum, proactive radiation PAR density spectrum, and then you can see, between 5 to 550, almost not quite 600, but is in this
green's pretty much right in the middle. So it's like, is that our third dimensional, like manifesting energy reality? And then you get to the UV ultraviolet, and apparently that's the spectrum that you can start seeing auras and the orgone energy and whatnot. And then if you go to the infrared, there's all the legends of like the demons being visible and existing in that infrared hot spectrum energy. And green's literally right in the middle. And they say it's yellow and blue that gives you green, but really is it purple and red that provide that green?
Yeah, interesting.
It's a good question. I mean, the idea that green is either and I've always said blue, because blue is a very strange color that masks out. If you think how big blue is and how it goes into ultraviolet, blue is supposedly masking out a lot of the infragreen or whatever we're calling this, because the spectrum is just one blue. The fact that you can see a gradient of green here, but you have a difficulty seeing the change in blue, shows you how much blue is just taking up is absorbing information. So when you look at the sky and you see a blue sky instead of all the other colors in the sky, that's because blue is the censorship bar across your vision. And it's interesting because that didn't exist up until recently, right? We were showing blue didn't exist. I'll just remind, in the past, people saw less color. I mean, there are people that have, even today, more cones and can see more colors than most humans can see. But the colors that were available to you were between the 600 and 670 range mostly. And so colorblind people, for the most part, are seeing in the spectrum as well. But it was very common at one point. So Homer's Odyssey doesn't talk about blue. It talks about wine-colored seas, honey-colored skies, no blue. You know what I mean? Blue is just not a thing on the menu for people up until a certain point when, and Blavatsky talks about this, Bluebird, the idea that there's a change, and all of a sudden we're seeing blue because of the electromagnetic or whatever kind of aura change and shift. And that's what's blinding us to what's really out there, what's beyond that blue beam.
Order for Jorge.
Thanks.
Take it easy.
Jorge! It's trivia night!
Can't tonight. Have fun. Tickets here. Front row tickets. Great.
Yeah, very interesting.
Oh, are you a muted, boy? I cannot hear you.
Me?
No, it's Bernie. What were you saying?
So that most of the auroras are green in color when you see them, or at least from what I've seen, majority of the time it's green in the skies where I live.
Yep, absolutely.
Man, I can never spell it right. Aurora borealis. And then I get confused with the serpent eating its own tail, Ouroboros. It's just never fair.
Yeah, because they look like it. A lot of times it looks like a large snake eating its own tail.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is an interesting thing in and of
Giant
itself.
plasma dragon in the sky.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine though you don't have blue, and then this is what you get to see all the time, basically. Plus more, because there's yellow, pinks, and all these different colors. And this is what the sky could and should be looking like all the time, everywhere. Except we're seeing just this crazy. I mean, and far weirder. This is just because of if blue wasn't here, only imagine.
And this is associated with the North again, right? With the North Pole, these elves, getting closer to a possible entrance into the underworld. The things we spoke about before, there's a lot of connections. There's always something that's connecting these things to each other, in the same kind of bigger picture.
Right. Green witches, Celts, Jade, Frankenstein monster. Okay, Frankenstein monster.
And I just thought of Groot too when we were looking up something. That
Yeah,
was
Groot.
something to mention. It's another nature character,
Yeah, he looks a lot like Green Man. He's got the
Yeah.
same that kind of the head even being the
Yeah.
broken. Mary Shelley though, I had Mary Shelley open here. She's all the way over here. I pull this over there then. Boom.
Yeah. So we were gonna go a little bit into Mary Shelley, her husband, and also you mentioned her father, right? Was it her father, Andreas?
Yeah, what's to say? Father is he was a scientist and a political philosopher, William Goodwin, who's very
Yeah.
interesting. He was a utilitarian, and he wrote some interesting books. He was a British radical, and so, but the thing, and an anarchist. But he talks about the Slavs, the Tartars. He did a bunch of history stuff about the English Civil War into Stoicism, and was a major influence on Shelley. And so a lot of the work that Shelley did, like it wouldn't have been possible if she hadn't been raised by Goodwin, of course.
Yeah, so it seems like she was introduced to a lot of history, mythology, all this stuff, and her understanding of Prometheus, and that's this is the modern Prometheus, is this Frankenstein story, since Prometheus made mankind, right? The Dr. Frankenstein is animating this pieces of human that are put back together to make a somewhat type of human or whatever, but a monster. And even if you look in like Black's Law Dictionary, I believe, when you look up human, it says see monster, and then as a definition for monster.
For which one?
We're kind of Prometheus's monsters, and even in the movie Prometheus, if you look up Black's Law Dictionary, I believe it's older versions of Black Law's Dictionary. This has been years too since I've,
I look at Prometheus monster, or what? What do I look up?
No, if you look up human in Black's Law Dictionary,
human.
It'll say to see monster. It says a being that is of a hue, and that's just like color, right? A colored being, a humanoid or something like that. But I think this is an old version. I don't know if it's
Monster definition: a prodigious birth, a human birth or offspring not having the shape of mankind, which cannot be heir to any land, albeit it be brought forth in marriage. Wow.
Yeah, see, interesting, right? So there's another like human monster connection, and her associating the Prometheus story by writing this Frankenstein story and Frankenstein's monster, kind of showing us symbolically, at least, that that's what we are, is we're the monsters of Prometheus. And then in the movie Prometheus, I believe it's Hal. I'm not very savvy with any of these newer movies or anything, but is that Hal from 2001 Space Odyssey that is the doctor that's making the aliens or whatever?
Oh right, Prometheus. It's not quite, but basically, is his name Hal?
I think that was Hal, as far as I.
Stupid advertisements. It's because actually I'm gonna find it on OdySee and switch over to OdySee, and then there won't be the ads.
I think his name might
there
have
we
been.
go. Now
I don't know,
thinking.
Prometheus,
Now I'm
Hal,
thinking.
no, AI.
Sorry.
He got another name, David. His name is David.
Oh, David.
But that's still good, right? Because
I'm pausing it while I look it up on OdySee. Sorry, but I was going to interject there and state is that it's actually a very good 1 hour of this green machine or green cryptid being Halloween episode of Red Eye. It's called Death and Rebirth of Monsters and Shadows. Green, Death and Rebirth. Okay, here we go. I can close it on YouTube and get rid of these stupid ads, and we can switch over to OdySee, as I encourage everybody else to do, and make sure that you do indeed please subscribe to myself, as well as Andreas Sirtis and Autodidactic Campbell and everybody else that is over on OdySee, because we actually earn a little bit of crypto apparently on it. Anywho, from energy, and green's literally right in the middle, and they say it's yellow and blue that gives you green, but really is it purple and red that provide that green?
Yeah, interesting.
It's a good question. I mean, the idea that green is
How's it
either the, and I've always said blue, because blue is a very strange color that masks out. If you think how big blue is and how it goes into ultraviolet, blue is supposedly masking out a lot of the infragreen, or whatever we're calling this, because the spectrum is just one blue. The fact that you can see a gradient of green here, but you have a difficulty seeing the change in blue, shows you how much blue is just taking up is absorbing information. So when you look at the sky and you see a blue sky instead of all the other colors in the sky, that's because blue is the censorship bar across your vision. And it's interesting because that didn't exist up until recently, right?
Sorry, I'm trying to increase the color quality of it. Uh-oh, what's going on? What's sharing? Is it? Oh, maybe that's too high. Try 360 instead. Just learning the system.
Right, we were showing
there we go.
Blue didn't exist. I'll just remind, in the past, people saw less color. I mean, there are people that have, even today, more cones and can see more colors than most humans can see, but the colors that were available to you were between the 600 and 670 range mostly. And so colorblind people, for the most part, are seeing in the spectrum as well. But it was very common.
Probably in the extreme
Homer's
UV.
Odyssey doesn't talk about blue. It talks about wine-colored seas, honey-colored skies, no blue. You know what I mean? Blue is just not a thing on the menu for people up until a certain point when, and Blavatsky talks about this, Bluebird, the idea that there's a change, and all of a sudden we're seeing blue because of the electromagnetic or whatever kind of aura change and shift. And that's what's blinding us to what's really out there, what's beyond that blue beam.
Yeah, very interesting.
Oh, are you a muted, boy? I cannot hear you.
Me?
No, it's Bernie. What were you saying?
So that most of the auroras are green in color when you see them, or at least from what I've seen, majority of the time it's green in the skies where I live.
Yep, absolutely.
Man, I can never spell it right. Aurora borealis. And then I get confused with the serpent eating its own tail, Ouroboros. It's just never fair.
Yeah, because they look like it. A lot of times it looks like a large snake eating its own tail.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is an interesting thing in and of
Giant
itself.
plasma dragon in the sky.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine, though, you don't have blue, and then this is what you get to see all the time, basically. Plus more, because there's yellow, pinks, and all these different colors. And this is what the sky could and should be looking like all the time, everywhere. Except we're seeing just this crazy, and far weirder. This is just because of, if blue wasn't here, only imagine.
And this is associated with the North again, right? With the North Pole, these elves, getting closer to a possible entrance into the underworld. The things we spoke about before, there's a lot of connection.
And I don't know. Prometheus.
Sorry, I skipped it ahead because we were a little bit back there.
He got another name, David. His name is David.
Oh, David.
But that's still good, right? Because
yeah. So yeah. Anyways, this David character is like the bad scientist kind of thing, right? And that's associated with. Oh, wait.
I'm
He's
afraid
trying-
I can't let you do that, Dave. Wait,
Oh,
somebody.
you cut him off.
Who did
I was
what?
just joking. I'm a mad scientist.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
right.
This is perfect.
So Hal says, "I'm afraid I can't let you do that, Dave." And then in Prometheus, his name is David, right? So it's like he's
Oh,
added.
okay.
So he's become Hal is the son, it's the offspring of Dave and Hal's star child. Is the idea
Okay, interesting.
because Dave becomes a star child when he touches the monolith, right?
Okay, so it is
We
associated. Right?
do
It's
go
tied into
deep
that.
into the
Yeah.
emerald
What about this on the
tablets
way?
as
Who
well
could
in this
also mean
episode.
bird, from what I was reading
Highly
earlier,
recommend
which
listening
connects
to
to
it, and
earlier
I'll
bird
start
demon back in the day, Sumeria. Ancient Mysteries on
setting up
YouTube
the
talks about
next,
this. Yes.
how to make monatomic zinc and
Bird
silver.
monster Sumeria. I don't know the name, but obviously like Thunderbird comes to mind. Anzu, that's right, Anzu. Or the zoo, a lesser deity monster. Pretty exciting though. Look at that guy, right? And close enough to bipedal, as far as I can tell.
All
kinda reminds me of
alchemists are
Garuda
mad
in the Indian
spiritual
pantheon.
scientists.
That was on
Are
Garuda
shamans.
is basically the eagle on the back of the dollar bill.
Garuda, my bad.
Yes, if you look at those, see the picture. That's like the eagle on the back of our dollar bill.
Yep.
They got it from Garuda, and that's Vishnu's mount. He flies on the back of Garuda.
That makes sense. The story of the Dogon, they got the 411 from a sea-like person. Why it shows why the Pope wears that same hat. I heard. Yeah, that's the fish hat, right? And then we just looked at the Mithra cult, the Pope and the Mithra cult, because the hat has a lot to do. The Mithra cult had an association with the fish. They're going to show us the thing. They just want to hide the picture there. But the Roman mystery cult, they worship the Enki as well.
Yeah, so that ties into EA. Yeah, Enki is EA, and also Capricorn.
Okay.
So that ties back to the creature of the Black Lagoon and this, fish creature, and it's the Makara in Indian pantheon. So that's the mount of a lot of these ocean and river gods. The Makara.
Right. Yeah, we talked a bit about the Makara, but remind us, it's this fish monster thing. What is the deal? Like elephant, human monster.
So this is the mount of a lot of gods. Well, specifically Varuna, and in Varuna's children, which are at least females, they represent the riverways and all that stuff. So the Ganges is the goddess Ganja, and she rides the Makara. So any of these water gods in the Hindu pantheon, they ride this Makara. That's their mount, just like Garuda's the mount for Vishnu. And
Ganja.
Yeah. So they're also on the temples. They are at the entrances, and they make fountains out of them, and water comes out of their mouth. But they're like, you have to pass them in any entrance to these temples, or at least some of the older ones. You have to pass by these makaras, and a lot of the goddesses and gods would wear earrings that had a makara, that you have to go through the makara to be able to tell someone something. So it's like it's a gateway guy. Yeah, there's a goat
in the mouth.
Yeah, and it's this chimera character that so is Capricorn. It's a chimera. It's not one animal. It's at least two, and can be also depicted as a human too in some cases. The Capricorn.
Wow.
And then it connects to Sobek, and Sobek is in the Egyptian pantheon, and it's the crocodile.
Right. Yeah. So what's the deal with the crocodile god? Because in front of the Rosicrucian temple, right? They have Sobek, right?
Yeah. So Sobek is the god that the Nile comes from. Sobek, supposedly, he's this large, giant green crocodile god that sweated the Nile, and so it has a long story to Sobek, but Sobek is been what do you call it when you morph it with other gods? It's been morphed with Horus and Ra and Set and all of them. Like they basically said that this is, a version of them is this crocodile god.
Hmm.
And that they used to keep them as pets, and they would feed this huge fat one. There's Crocodilopolis. They have a whole area, Crocodilopolis, that was dedicated to them, and huge temple, and they worshipped it.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Fine.
remember hearing something about that crocodile god, and that they're the missing labyrinth, Egyptian labyrinth, that's supposedly under the Giza plateau is ruled by that crocodile god or something.
Yeah, it definitely could be. It's been a while since I looked into all the details of Sobek, but that's what I remember, is that there was a Crocodilopolis. I mean, he was worshipped all throughout, but especially in one area. And it's one of the old.
Go deep on the labyrinth, though, because do people know about this much? I mean, the idea that there's a labyrinth. What is the deal?
Yeah, like it's been lidared, and that literally they've proven and have the 3D rendering of this giant. I think it's like 3 megalithic stories below the entire Giza plateau, but I don't think they've released it officially. Like there's a couple like very, very small mentions of it in the media a few years back or something like that. And I think they were supposed to do like a big public reveal of it, and then it's been completely silenced and hushed up ever since.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, like
and you can
Pan's
see,
Labyrinth.
look at the swastikas around the labyrinth right there too. The interconnectivity of them. Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I would say that connects back, if there is a crocodile connection to it. It's the first I've heard of that, but I never even heard of any of this labyrinth or any of that. So it'd be interesting to find out if the crocodile is associated, and that would connect into like Pan and Pan's Labyrinth, and Pan, of course, is connected to Capricorn.
Dude, crocodile pets in the sewers.
Yeah.
The all-American crocodile pet.
So look up Inky on Wikipedia. I think it'll show that it is the Dogon, the EA, and the Capricorn. It's all the same thing.
I'm so glad.
Enki. Sorry.
I know. I mean, I'm so glad that even though I knew better, I was like, what happens if I type Enki and it brings up the little like band cartoon Sambo-esque character that destroyed Looney Tunes Chuck. Yeah. Okay. I feel
and what is that? She has like a little crocodile with her, or turtle. What is that?
Yeah, it looks kind of like a turtle. Well, maybe it's a crocodile. It's definitely some sort of lizard thing. Maybe it's a croc. Yeah, it looks like a crocodile.
It could be a baby croc.
Wow.
That's pretty wild, dude. I don't know. I can't believe the things they get away with. Okay, but Enki, who is not a Looney Tunes character yet, but there's still time.
So what is the Wikipedia page? I think it'll tell you what gods it's associated with.
Yeah, let's see here. Enki is, gosh, Wikipedia these days. Enki, Sumerian god of water, crafts, creation, and one of the Anunnaki. He was later known as or A. Akkadian, Assyrian, Babylonian religion is identified by some scholars with Ea or AI. Come on, that's hilarious. With Canaanite religion, the name was rendered Eos in Greek sources, Damascus. He was originally the patron god of the city of Eridu, but later the influence of his cult spread throughout Mesopotamia to the Canaanites, Hittites, Syrians. He was associated with this southern band of constellations called the Stars of Ea, but he was also with the constellation As-Iku, the field square Pegasus. Beginning around the 2nd millennium BC, he was sometimes referred occasionally by writing by numeric ideogram for 40. Interesting. Shakespeare John Dee thing there. Occasionally referred to as his sacred number. The planet Mercury, associated with the Babylonian Nabu, the son of Marduk, was in the Sumerian times identified with Enki. Okay, so the messenger, Mercury, Lucifer. Many myths about Enki, Venus, Phosphore, have been collected from various sites stretching from southern Iraq to the Levantine coast. He is mentioned in the earliest extent Cuneiform inscriptions throughout the region and was prominent from the 3rd millennium down to the Hellenistic period. Greek equivalent Poseidon and Prometheus.
And then the goatfish. See the symbol if you go back.
Yeah, let's see here. Oh, where'd it go? Enki. The goatfish.
Yeah, so if you go down to the symbol, well, it says it on there. It's written. It says the symbol is the goatfish. And
There's
it's,
also goats, though, right? Yeah.
Chimera, right? And I believe it says that it's related to the Dogon somewhere in there. But yeah, see right there the symbol.
Goatfish, chimera. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And if you type goatfish, oh no, sea goat. Yeah, that works. So sea goat, legendary aquatic animal described as a creature that is half goat and half fish. Constellation Capricorn, Enki. Greek interpretation belongs to the constellation Almathea, the goat that raised Zeus. Okay. In Jewish tradition, the story goes that the creature of the sea must offer themselves to the monster Leviathan. Another, a sailor encountered a sea goat while far at sea. On its horns was carved the sentence translated as, "I am a little sea animal, yet I traverse 300 parasangs to offer myself as food to the Leviathan." Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's an obvious connection to Pan, and it's being a chimera, and these aquatic representations that they have with the Pope and stuff like that. And Christ is supposedly, all these Christ characters that show up are December 21st, which is Capricorn, and then they say the vicar of Christ is the Pope, and that's why they would wear that, fish type Dogon hat.
Pope fish hat. Let's see if I just type that. Will that work? Yeah, there's some, and you can see the examples of the fish mouth mitra, like Babylonian Assyrian outfit, where he's wearing a full fish, not just the head of the fish. He's got his whole tails and everything, which I imagine that's got a smell. So I can get why he stopped doing that. But
yeah, so this is it connects into the crocodile, the Makara, them being chimera. The crocodile god, he's actually half human, half crocodile. Right, they can be on water and land, these creatures. That's why the chimera, the Makara thing, isn't just a water creature. It also has feet and has different animal parts that it's made out of, that it can go from the ocean depths to the top of the mountain. It can traverse through this thing. That's why Mercury's associated with it, and Mercury's lunar mansion is in Capricorn. It's the 21st or 22nd lunar mansion.
And the association again with Ramses the second to what's his name? Sarah, what's it?
Makara?
God. No, the crocodile god.
Yeah, Sobek.
Sorry, Sobek. Right. Sobek is one of the names for Ramoses was associated with Sobek Ra, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was a connection between Ramses II. The connection with Ramses II was Ozymandias, and that was connected to Mary Shelley's husband's poem of the Ozymandias.
To answer the question of Miss Moo Nagasaki, 69 in Gematria means pie or milk. There's a couple of Chick-fil-A was in there too. I like those. And gamma, and to define. So there you
go. Nice.
Nice.
Oh,
it's fascinating stuff. Because now that we're getting to the level of the CRISPR technology, gene editing, the cloning, all of that, essentially the technology of God, are we back to this moment of the Tower of Babel, and where we or whatever humanoid group was in charge or in power before the last reset or a couple of resets back, did they also get to that point where it's like it's not a cartoon image or like fictional images? These possible creatures were actually running around, or humanoids, whatever, running around.
Yeah, and a lot of the old mythologies and stuff are talking about these, weird mix. Ancient Aliens goes into it and all that stuff. Like we were doing weird mixtures and trying to blend things until we came up with something that was, I guess, more suitable, that could last longer on Earth in the physical realm. And so maybe that's what was happening in the past. I mean, that's kind of the story of Prometheus. Is they made, he was forming us, and then Athena, I believe Athena in the story, comes in and she provides this ability of unveiling ourselves over time, and it's symbolized by a butterfly that she puts in our head, right? And she, of course, comes out of her father Zeus through the middle of the head, explodes out of his head because he ate her, right? So I think there's some interesting correlations, connections there with over time unraveling some of these mysteries and perfecting ourselves, and maybe moving from being the monster that's inside, the shadow side of ourselves, right, and the beastly or form that dies, into something that is longer lasting and has more life and more love and stuff like that.
There's interesting connections between the Green Man and Woden, the one eye, and we went into this the other day about the idea of Woden as the one eye being connected to the eye of Hamza, the evil eye, right? Because there's an entire offensive strategy there, and then the hand of Mary being, to protect, or the hand of the daughter of Muhammad, right? So it depends on how they want to present the hand to protect, but there's that idea of the hand. And this again, where it used to be green, but now they're always blue, right? Like you almost always see the blue hand of Muhammad. Not always, I mean, there are other ones, but blue seems to be coming up more often than green now. Although green is the thing. Green is the color for Islam too. That's another thing that connects Islam and green.
Good point.
Green in Islam, there's like 13 reasons to the importance of green, and the 13 importance of green described as a good color in Islam, a theme color of the Quran, the Prophet's favorite color, symbolizing life, symbol of Islam, has a special place in Islamic history, right? Because there's a lot of the flags and all the culture. As suggestion to preserve nature, the color of the dwellers of paradise wear. Green is life. Green is the favor from Allah, so being in favor. Greenery gives life. So the idea of in the fall, when you're losing water and things start to lose their green, and the spring comes and the green comes back, and all the plants are flushed with green. The Prophet gave the Prophet's grave has green color, and to calm and refresh the mind, and greenery gives life to Muslims. But there's more in terms of just the hats worn, the flags, like we talked about.
I'm gonna be right back. Sorry, I'll be right back. All right.
No worries. 17th century Mughal painting of Al-Qadir. You'll see he's riding a fish even. So the connection's there. But yeah, all the flags. I mean, Bernie, do you have any thoughts on? You seem like you're thinking this too.
It's interesting that it's the green and why they'd like it's the holy color, but
and red again.
Flags through the Middle East have the green in it, right, with the Islam. But been too long since I took my was in school post-secondary and took religious studies. I'm like trying to think and just having a blank on it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing though. You have the green guard, green. And I guess if we go into it, we can say the reclining on the green cushions and the rich carpets of beauty in the surah. Upon them will be green garments of fine silk and heavy brocade, and they will be adorned with bracelets of silver, and their lords will give them drinks of pure water and holy, right? The green garments, because they're in paradise. The Al-Qadir literally means the green one, right? So the Al-Qadir is the green man, and he's a figure who traveled and met Moses. So, I mean, the green man meets Moses.
They took the natural green color as their royal or worship color, opposed to Europeans that were all purple.
Right? Yeah, because of the snails of the sea. So the land power versus the sea power. Purple,
makes
snails,
sense.
Royal. You know this whole thing, right?
Yeah, the tire snail. Royal tire purple, is it?
Snails Royal. Show people. Come on, internet. Don't fail me now. Yeah, I mean, so now they can just synthetically do it, but this is how they were Tartarian purple, right? I think that's the way to go with that. Sucks to be a snail, in a lot of ways. But yeah, now they can synthetically do it, so purple's not a big deal. But green also from emerald, and like in the Voynich manuscript, the kinds of green that they use are these materials from emeralds that are so they're so durable that you can still look at the parchments, right? The vacuum, because you couldn't do that if it was 10 years old, if it was written in organic materials like from simple paints, etc. Right? So, but yeah, so we did the Islamic flags. Green is the banner. There was a thing here somewhere. Islamic green is actually the name of a color, which is hex 00900000. I mean, numerologists abound. Go right ahead. But then we, and in giant, just it's not just, don't worry, it's not just red. I mean, it's not just green, it's red too. Like there are the association there abound. And then just the fact that the flag of Iran, the flag of Italy, the connections to Mexico and Latin America, this idea that Turan is the Latin Empire, that the people remember the security guards that were drafted from the neighboring countries. It'd be like if America was remembered by the Canadian flag in 1,000 years, which is fine. I'm for it, but green in Arab. Okay. Is Islam still the green religion? Thanks, guys. So then there's, and we did the Egyptian blue, but this is an example of some Egyptian blue, just to remind people, like in terms of hue. Yeah. That's not a blue, it's a green, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hones, Silverman, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, obviously there's a tie-in with the green immediately. I believe it's some sort of I don't know if it was a vapor. Do you guys remember with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or was it a liquid? I remember him like drinking some sort of liquid and then turning into this crazy guy. Right?
Yeah, I think it's a potion. My dad told me as a kid, and I haven't really verified this yet, but that the story Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was based on a minister. There was a religious minister who by night was like a sexual deviant who did drugs and had parties and listened to jazz. You know what I mean? But so they got this like two-sided thing, because when he got arrested, it was a shock to the society that he had a closeted life, which could have had bisexuality and everything else. Probably how he got arrested, because homosexuality was illegal at the time, more than it was to drink arsenic. Actually, you could probably do that and no one would care in certain slums of London. But yeah, so the idea that he turned green, kind of a typical Flash comic book.
Yeah, and I think that's like, Monster Energy drink and stuff like that, because monsters are green, but it's also kind of a play on that. These things get embedded over time and used because they, remember it from a childhood story or something like that. But I thought there was a couple different interesting correlations with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, obviously with like Incredible Hulk and what we were seeing with Prometheus, right? There's a scientist, this mad scientist, kind of, Frankenstein, and another thing being created, a monster side, a shadow side, right? A death of the one character and a birth of the other. So death, rebirth, sort of stuff over again in this kind of symbology that is in the story. But also, if you look up the Wikipedia, the publishing date is very close to the publishing date of Frankenstein. As far as like the month and the day, right? So I believe it's January 5th that it was published.
Pull this over here. 1818, 1886, but the date itself, January 5th.
January 5th. And then the other one's like the 11th or something.
January. Doesn't tell me when it was first published. Novel Frankenstein. Okay, there we go. Okay. January 1st. Okay.
January 1st. Yeah. And then I believe another one of the stories by her husband was maybe like the 6th or something, or the 11th.
Yeah, Percy Bush Shelley. like interesting, right? This character, very
Yeah.
compared to Mary Shelley. No offense, Mary Shelley. I'm just saying you did well for yourself. Look. Good job, Mary Shelley. You got with Piercy Bush.
She wasn't looking too merry.
Yeah, she looks more like Marshall.
I
was thinking that, but I didn't say it.
He looks like Mary, right?
I knew a girl named Percy. That could work. But yeah, radical in his poetry, and no problem living how you want to live. Like, God bless America. I'm just saying, or Britain or whatever. I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's probable that people were living their own lifestyles privately at the time, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
Very
not
interesting.
a dead name. Shelley did not achieve fame during his life.
I paused it there. We will get back to the rest of that. But what up, Mike? Happy Halloween, Esoteric Gold. I have been looking for Carla. Oh my goodness, I just loaded it. Carmen Boulter. That's how we say it. Carmen Boulter. She's the Egyptologist that believes not in what's the word? Mainstream Egyptian mythology, but actual grand cycles of 36,000 or older Egypt, like Atlian times, the Golden Procession, and all of that. And she is the one that discovered the Egyptian underground labyrinth that I was referring to. And thank you, Esoteric Gold, for posting the link. This is Carmen Boulter's YouTube site. Maybe it's Boulter. Either way, she is an Egyptologist professor at versed in Egyptology, teaches actually at the University of Calgary, out of all synchronicities. So she's actually in my city. I would really like to be able to meet her. I tried reaching out a couple times before, never got a response. But that was before I did streaming and alternative history and all of this. So who knows? Maybe Carmen Boulter, if you're out there, let's meet up the next time you're back home, because she's freaking awesome. She's also the author of the Netflix Pyramid Code series, I believe, or at least stars in it. But yeah, so here is Carmen Boulter's Egypt Labyrinth Complex video from 2015.
You can see the levels don't connect. And there's very little water down there.
So this is what came up on the scan.
This is a 3D animation of what came up on the scan.
Yeah.
With just a little bit of water, not a lot down there, and it's underneath. But that's 82 rooms you're looking at, and 1.5 kilometers of passageways.
Wow.
That's 9 acres.
And sorry, which pyramid is this? Which area is this located in?
Hawara, 95 kilometers south. Is that freaky or what?
Wow. That's... If that turns out to be what it is, what it looks like, that's one of the biggest finds they'll have in Egypt for a long time.
By the filling moon to the Blue River Delta.
I had to mute it there, just if music's playing. I don't know if it's copyrighted. I'm going to fast forward a little bit here to Carmen Boulter herself, the Egyptologist out of University of Calgary and Pyramid Code author. I guess this is her talking of modern knowledge.
The wires right on the sand. But no one had done space archaeology on it. And so this is a completely new technology, a completely new way of being able to look through layers and go all the way down 6 kilometers down. And so Klaus Donna and his company out of Germany and Vienna have developed this software application that goes on the live satellite feed, and it's working with quantum physics and standing columnar waves, so longitudinal waves and Maxwell equations. And that's all to say that it's similar to barcodes. So what you see, how the information on a barcode at the grocery store will give all the
Freaking
information about the
amazing.
product. It's similar in the layman's terms. That's the simplest metaphor to go for in terms of how this works. Now, most ground penetrating radar, there's lots of different applications out there, but nothing is like this one, because what this one can do is it looks through the layer. So the other ones, if you hit something, that's it. If there's something underneath, no can do. You can't see it. And so, but the other thing is that each element, each anomaly has its own pattern, logarithmic pattern. And so they do a scan for pottery. They can tell the difference between pottery, water, precious metals, precious jewels, bone. Okay? And so each of these have their own characteristic signature. So the way that this technology has been used is governments will call up and say, well, we need water. They did one for California, and they found 2 underground rivers at 160 meters and 170 meters, something like that. But they found water in Zimbabwe. They found diamonds in Brunei, gold in Bolivia. But mostly when they find stuff, it's just like 5 deposits. They can do oil and gas, but they don't want to because of the environment, and they'd rather turn their attention to things that are more useful, for humanity. So this technology is phenomenal, and Klaus Donna's friend has developed this particular one. So there's other space archaeology that's being done, but not like this.
So, and when was this particular, I guess, discovery? I mean, it's been discovered in the past, as you said, but not to this level. When was this recent scan completed?
Christmas Day. So I found the coordinates. See, that's the other thing, is that the team from before had the driving directions, but they didn't have the coordinates. And so I have been looking for this place for 25 years. And so I started thinking that these chambers would have been under the Giza Plateau. And I spent 5 years going down under the hole. And then there was this picture, an image that had been sent to me. It's actually on my website, of this trapezoid shape with a circle in the middle. X marks the spot, and something that looked like a pyramid. And so in February 2012, I led an expedition into the open desert, again, looking for this place. Like, I've got the sense, in the past life memory, that there's something that has this huge space that's very, very deep and very, very old. And so we went in with a Russian scientist, Dr. Konstantin Korakov, a crew from New York, a film crew, and a hot air balloon, and found the place. And we had to fly in there. It was a military zone with unexploded landmines. Couldn't have been more dangerous. I mean, this was the real adventure. And then we got there, landed badly because it was late, bumped around on the desert, and then went walking to this place and went, oh, it's falling apart. It's modern. And they had literally built a concrete pyramid, and the Air Force was using it as a target for their pilots that were practicing. So we measured the energy fields on the Earth, and they were all wiggly still, even though it could have been many years since they'd used it. And so that was just to say that was a dud, and that was 3 years ago. So, okay, that's not it. Giza's not it. I wonder where this place is. And so somebody sent me a link, and I had seen it before. This thing is the image that is known for the labyrinth. And if you look at the center of it, and it's the legend is it's all at once a labyrinth, a brain, and a pyramid. And so it's my conviction that these are multidimensional ideas, signatures, symbols, about biology and cosmology and astronomy and archetypes along the edges here. And it's, it hasn't been deciphered. And this was a copper engraving that was done in 1670. So since 2008, when the ground penetrating radar was done, and I do have an image of that scan as well, that was really low resolution. And it just looks like blobs, colored blobs. But they made a big announcement and said that they had discovered it. But we have to understand that there's methodology involved. And if you have a scan, high definition or low definition, it's the hypothesis.
Right.
And you need to go to the field and get the verification. So it was premature for them to say that they had discovered it. But pretty much now when you investigate, everybody knows there's something down there. Except Zahi Hawass. He says there's nothing there.
but we're going to prove them wrong. And then you come in with, and you've got this advanced form of a scan. And if I'm correct, you're working on this with Klaus, and he was basically the connection to getting the ability to do this scan, right?
That's right. But the thing is that because we've been talking for a couple of years, the other contracts that he's gotten that use this scan, they actually go to the country and dig and say, here it is. And so for things like finding water, they can see the flow rate of the water, the amount of water. And that's why this is really important for places like California. And so there's validity and reliability in the scan. And so in quantitative research methods, which I taught at the graduate level at University of Calgary for years, those are the two buzzwords. And so validity means you're actually measuring what you think you're measuring. So in psychological tests, not very likely, those Likert scores, I mean, they force everybody to say 3 because they don't know what the question means. So those don't have a lot of validity because you're not measuring what you think you're measuring. And then reliability is if you do this test over and over and over again in different places, you'll come up with similar results. And so this test is turning out to be, this scanning technology, they're calling it spooky accurate. Okay. Now, we don't know if the government's going to give us permits and let us go excavate. And at the great depth that it is, we don't know if we can even go get it out. Right. So it may be that we're left with the virtual reality and that we don't verify it. That's iffy. Like, just because this is a major discovery that could help people, give hope, change, be a game changer for how we see ourselves because of the extreme antiquity of it, that doesn't mean that we're going to get the chance to do it. And so that's why I think it's important to really, start thinking about what it is.
Before we get into the details of the discovery, Carmen, I just wanted to orient the viewers as to the approximate location that you're speaking about and that you're going to be showing us about. You mentioned before it's south of Cairo, so if everybody's familiar with the Nile Delta leading out to the Mediterranean Sea, Cairo is at the base of that delta. And where is this location relative to the Giza Plateau in Cairo itself?
It's 95 kilometers south, and it's beside the Fayum Oasis.
And
which is right here. I'm showing you on the map right here.
So is that an artificial lake to the northwest, I guess, of that oasis, or is that?
It's not artificial, and that's actually a good question because there are ancient maps that show a displacement of water, and it's called Lake Moeris, Moeris. And it's about a 45-minute drive from this pyramid. And we went there, and it's this enormous salt lake in the middle of Egypt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so that is just mind-boggling in itself. But apparently, this is so old that the legends are talking about 2 pyramids in the lake, but on a little island. And some people think that the water went all the way to Giza. Whoa, what about the Nile? And if the Nile was covered, I mean, if you think about the pyramid code and time and the geological movement of the river and all that stuff, how old are we talking about here?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of speculation and a lot of unknowns that go with it. But I think that we are speaking because of the depth, and it's 30 kilometers from the Nile, which is, the Sphinx is 8 miles from the Nile. And so, and we've already examined the extreme antiquity of that, through the pyramid code. So we are talking old here.
It's almost like that lake there has basically been cut off from an ancient water system that was once connected to a greater ocean. Let's say it's like a landlocked salty sea of one sort or another.
Right. And so research into geology, the geology of the area, is all important in terms of, coming up with some final conclusions about this.
They're wonderful.
So what at this point is happening right now? Just sort of a quick little synopsis. Right now, you're in the talks with trying to see if they would allow some kind of excavation or further research, or is there going to be more scans, trying to be done to get more accurate data on this, or where does this stand now?
Well, the final report, will have the details, but there's an instrument that they bring with them that is more accurate than the other things. And so we are proposing to do boreholes into the key rooms that have, I'm putting it out there, there's 6 rooms that apparently have gold. And so we can say X marks the spot and drill the borehole and send a 3D mapping camera in to show the whole thing. And I suppose we could do virtual reality with that, whether or not the excavation happens.
And that's just amazing that you can actually do that nowadays. And that's a very unobtrusive way to actually explore an ancient site without doing too much damage. The small borehole, and then using that camera there to see what's there instead of ripping the whole thing out of the ground.
Well, and these cameras exist. And again, this is the new technology is what's helping us do all this. But it's not an excavation if you don't excavate, if you don't go. And so archaeology is a destructive science. And so the only entity that gives permits to excavate is the Supreme Council of Antiquities. And they meet every 8 weeks, and there's a committee and there's protocol, and they need a principal archaeologist and a secondary archaeologist that are linked to major universities. And so we would be principal investigators, and you have to have qualifications to apply. So, you can't just call up a university secretary's office and say, hey, I want to do a PhD, okay? Yeah. And well, I don't have a master's or a bachelor's, but no problem, right? That's not how it works. Applications are very, very long, drawn out processes where you fill in all the different categories and then you make the proposal. So, we're proposing cultural heritage and visitor center and marketing and all that kind of stuff, but also all the virtual reality apps and all of that.
Yes,
and the documentary being made as we go along. All of that is on the table.
Overdue
and
on
so
my storage rental.
The step though is even though we've got the scan, it could be just like Google Earth, 5 meters off or something. And so there's a device with an antenna, and you walk on the ground, you connect with the scan from before, and you say here.
There's going to be a lot less of these
but the trick is the depth, because none of the other stuff that they did before actually is showing that. And so their scans even say somewhere between 5 and 12 meters. And so this was the most sophisticated technology they had then. 8 years ago was a long time in terms of technology. So newer is better. And
all right, good call. I'm going to pause it so you can hear me. This idea right here, we should all donate $1 per live. Anything that anybody can donate is greatly appreciated. Potentially, if everyone did donate $1 per stream, I wouldn't have to get a job and could afford to do this full time. Sadly, that is not the case. I am so in debt. I'm 3 months behind on even my storage unit rent. I desperately am waiting on my freaking police record to come back. Apparently, you need to get one to then do this marijuana course so that I can legally sell marijuana out of a pot dispensary, which put me out of business several years ago. And anywho, won't go into that. But applied a bunch of bars. I turned one job down because thought I was doing more streaming, but I need to get a job. So now I'm going to be back on the grind all week long. Anywho, yeah, I don't want to have all my silkscreen equipment freaking evicted out of my storage unit because, well, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to stop bitching. Anyone who is able to donate, it is greatly appreciated. Helps keeping these streams going. All right, enough of Carmen. That was just a teaser. We'll go more into it on the next Autodidactic Alchemist together. Thank you, Esoteric Gold, for giving me that link to Carmen. I did post Carmen's channel link, the full video, in the live chat. Here we go again. She is a Calgary professor of Egyptology. So I live in Calgary. I need to interview her and get a hold of her because that would be epic. I love everything she does. She's also, if anybody has Netflix and you haven't seen The Pyramid Code, or what am I talking about? I think it's also on YouTube. So why the hell am I repping Netflix? Go on YouTube and watch Pyramid Code. Back to how we can donate. I'm gonna be, good call, able to monetize my YouTube channel. I'm going through the process, but right now in the description there is the PayPal and also some crypto options. I currently can accept crypto and I can accept PayPal. I also believe my e-transfers are also in the freaking description. But that also reminds me, I'm going to be doing from this point forward $50 or more, or anybody that has donated that in the past. You can pick out shirts. You'll get a shirt. There's that design. There is this design. There is this design. And as we go towards Christmas here, I'm going to be focusing a lot more on the clothing for sale and getting my frickin' channel monetized, because now they both are able to be done. So yeah, I need to start super chats. I'm not even monetized. Neither of my channels are yet monetized. I gotta figure that out. Campbell, if you can help me with that, because they both now qualify to be monetized. BurnEye just got over 1,200 viewers. It's got way over 4,000 hours of watch time. Crypto Alchemist qualified to monetize a little while ago. Then they took it away from me. I just got it back. So I really need to figure out how to do that. I don't have AdSense or anything like that. So Campbell, maybe before a show next time, if you can help me with that, greatly appreciated. Thank you everybody who has donated in the past. If you have donated and you want the shirts here in e-transfer bconk167 at mtroyal.ca. It's listed in the description. Password Calgary with a capital C, please. Fuck, I'm an idiot. I also need to eventually, should be turned on auto deposit, but we'll get it sorted out. Anyways, enough of my rambling. Thank you everybody for your generosities. Regardless, I'm still going out to look for a job on Monday. Back to Halloween special part 1 as we go here. Let's see, what are these guys doing? Look at how cloudy jar number left is compared to jar number right. The silver clear one making monatomic silver, the water is a lot clearer, where the one on the left making monoatomic zinc, it's a whole lot more because it's a giant sheet of the zinc compared to the tiny hard silver coin, as well as the fact I suspect that the moon is only in a waning phase or crescent phase right now. And every time I try to make it when it's not in a full moon, it is a very slow process. I will run the silver again next time there's a full moon, and I'm sure everybody's mind will be blown because it will be as cloudy as the zinc is on the left. But while the moon is out of fullness, out of phase, the Alchemist silver moon does not produce a lot of monoatomic. Anywho, back to the green phase that we were talking about doing with Zertis. Finish that off here, the Halloween special. All right, there it is. That's right, on OdySee, because OdySee is where it is at with no ads. Here you can kind of see from this angle, the straight on, that the top half of the jar behind Ernie, with the copper coil, it's clear on the top and it's a little bit cloudy, semi-cloudy on the bottom half, and then on the left jar it's giant cloudy throughout, and that is the zinc being made. It is plasma. Monoatomics are plasma. They are aliens in a jar. Some of the things I've grown, well, that's for another show coming up right away. Just a reminder, I've got a call with Nancy Hutchinson and John Hutchinson coming up in the next day or two to set up a stream together to make the crystal batteries. They're coming on. I got the Hutchinsons coming on. We're doing these infinite solid state crystal battery builds and so much more. Tonight, part 2 with Charlie C, where we're going into the ghost Ghostbuster gun detector that he makes, and that's getting tested with the Skull Society. We're also going into the hover coils and all of the coils with Gerald. I can't wait for it. Gerald's given us the secret sauce. Thank you, Gerald. Oh, you want a shirt? 100%. 3 options. Crypto. There is, and look at that. Ooh, we see we got in the ladies. We have the wonderful tank tops, and they are oh my goodness. I forget what type of. See, it's been that long because my clothing isn't. My presses are in storage because of stupid COVID. Need to get it set up again so I can print. It's been so long, I forget what the heck type of tank top it is. Oh my, Razorback. There we go. Finally came to me. Razorback tank top with the Seed of Life, or Weed of Life, I should say, design, as well as the Bear Crown Bear. Ooh. On a Heather Gray V-neck girl shirt. Or how about this one? This one, it's out of stock, but ooh, look at that, eh? Isn't it nice? Anywho, back to the rest of the green shift, or what the heck was it called? Green, Death and Rebirth of Monsters and Shadow something or others.
But did write a bunch of interesting books. The Ode to the West Wind, Ozymandias, I think is the one you were talking about, right?
Yeah, and then there's a few other. You had like the Mask of Anarchy, which kind of relates to the movie The Mask, right? Not that the story does, but
Mask?
just
Yeah.
the fact that he's referencing to the Mask, right? And that's what that thing is, the Mask of Loki. It's kind of like you're hiding yourself, you're letting the animal side come out, right? And you become this Joker, right? Like the Joker, and why he has green hair. And
there it is, the mask. Yeah, the mask is interesting. I mean, what's the actual mask?
Someone
look like
just
again? It kinda
donated.
looks like the
Thank
Green
you
Man.
so
Let's
much.
see if I can find
Whoever
it.
just donated,
Terrifying
greatly
kind of thing
appreciate
here.
it.
And it's the
I'm
Mask
letting this
of
play.
Loki,
I'm going
right?
out
The
for a quick
trickster.
smoke.
Right,
MP,
Loki
because
and green.
I've been going
yeah,
live
being
for
all
2
dressed in
hours and
green
45
always,
minutes now.
right?
No
Full green, full
commercials on
time. Yeah.
OdySee, so I've got faith
Yeah.
again. I'll be back.
So a lot of this connection to kind of tricksters. Leprechauns are tricksters. Elves are known to be kind of tricksters and hiding and doing stuff. Like we just looked at that elf shot thing, right, where they're pulling this off. People see these DMT elves, right, and they seem to be able to interact with the mainframe of the Matrix and kind of mess with people, and maybe behind things like the Mandela effect, just like they think that CERN is behind things with the Mandela effect. And what kind of powers do these things have? All the mythological stories and stuff of them talk about them being able to fashion like the most interesting items and shoes, and that's not just the elves by themselves. They've all been kind of convoluted and mixed into the story of gnomes, elves, leprechauns. They're all basically of the same variety. There's just little spin-offs kind of, but there's they go in. Isn't there a story about the helping out a shoemaker that couldn't make these shoes in time or something, so they come at night and help put these shoes together?
Yeah, what's that deal? In the middle of the night while he's asleep, and they cobble all of his shoes. The cobbler and the elves. Cobblers.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and
it's fun.
Yeah, so if you get into a lot of these different stories of these characters, you start finding that they're masters of manipulating nature and creating things, right? So there's a interesting association there that kind of links these different things together. They're like the alchemists behind the scenes of life. Like they can disappear and reappear, right? And like we were talking about with monsters and Santa Claus and all this. It seems, the dragon, it seems like children can see these things like fairies and elves and all that stuff, but adults can't see them, or they don't show themselves to adults. It's safer to show themselves to children, right? And the monsters, right, hiding under the bed and all this stuff. So I just thought it's interesting. There's always these interesting correlations between all these things. And
dude, Jim Carrey, what the hell is his problem? He's got 3 different characters. You got the Mask, you got the Joker. What was the other one he did? The Grinch.
And
Oh
the
my
Grinch.
god. So how many
Yeah.
times over is Jim Carrey going to be the Green Man? I don't know. It's been interesting.
Yeah, and a trickster.
I just had one thought with the energy light wave spectrums, and that if and like red green, right? The red green like vision, that if demons or entities are in this infrared, that when they materialize, they would probably come across in this green viewable in a green spectrum, would they not?
That'd be the part you see the refraction of light off of, because of the absorption.
Yeah, exactly, the refraction off of it.
So you see everything that wasn't them.
Wow.
So you'd see the green as a refraction. So in other words, it would be kind of a pink hue almost by that logic, right? I mean, so color complement.
Didn't they used to have night vision was in red, and then they said that the army or whatever was starting to see demons, and
That's
so
the
they
legend.
changed
That's
it to green.
The story of it.
And so they changed it to
The
green.
pink demons or the green demons from the other reality. That is the thing, because when you see, because all these, because have you seen this stuff like the hentai anime kind of scene? They're all about these pink, and I don't know what you call it, like the demons that are pink all the time. That is a thing that exists to replace, and it's the friendly, welcoming, but it's literally, if you look at a color wheel, it's the exact opposite. This is how color complements work. Just a little tip for anybody trying to do some painting: take the opposite color across, and they will complement each other perfectly. And that way you know what color I'm going to paint with. I mean, I don't know, like purple, then use yellow, right? If you're going to use that, then you use that, and it's going to come out looking perfect, right, every time. So.
So the darker green is across from the red, and then that lighter green is across from the pink.
Right. Yeah. Lighter. Exactly. So red. Yeah, exactly. So red demons, red devils. There you go. Very logical.
Interesting.
Yeah, right. If they're existing in that infrared spectrum, and then
red
a lot
eye
of research I've seen and heard is like these blue cobalt lenses are able to see the aura energy and these other realms of life energy. So if they're existing in the infrared, the ultraviolet blue is on the UV, the opposite side of the spectrum. They cancel each other out. Green is right in the middle. That's what they'd appear as in our dimensional realm.
We should be wearing these all the time so we can have little filters to see what's going on, man. I'll tell you what.
And didn't Benjamin Franklin make those bifocals with all the different lenses on it, right, to see different color inks and stuff?
Absolutely.
I wonder if he knew anything about that stuff.
I think Isaac Newton also might have done it.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure there was like some guy working at CERN that put some of those colored lenses over a camera and then like published that he had seen entities portaling through it or something. If you guys ever heard of that story.
I have not.
That's awesome.
You got to find me the link to that one, though. That sounds really interesting. CERN. I mean, yeah, the idea of filtration to see stuff. I remember those infomercials with those yellow eagle eye sunglasses. And I was like, dude, Grandpa, no. But they're very useful, I'm pretty sure. Monster Energy. Make sure you get yourself some Monster Energy.
Yeah. And obviously, you guys all know about that 666 thing, right? Supposedly. And
yeah, you guys see that?
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, they're just doing it because, it's become so popular and everything. They're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because it's, a green drink, or it's sold as a green drink, which obviously is a play on this green potion or witch's brew or whatever, right?
Spider-Man has to fight the Green Goblins. The red and blue are fighting green. Green is the ultimate attack for red and blue.
Yeah, another scientist. Did we already go into the Green Goblin? It's another scientist, right? And then he creates this, I think he's the one that breathes in the green stuff and then turns into the Green Goblin, right?
Mm-hmm. Vapors. Yeah. It's interesting how all the comic books started out like with research chemicals. I mean, we really got to get back to the Breaking Bad of Superman and everything. But did we do the Hulk? We talked about Shrek. We kind of talked about Beast Boy and the Hulk a bit. But I mean, it is interesting. Also, yeah, the scientist. That's true. And then, we talk about She-Hulk though? Because opposed to Hulk, I mean, it is similar to the Princess Shrek.
Yeah.
She-Hulk is this character, and they've made it clear with her twerking that it's all about rejecting what society demands of us to be good, and just to be the most yourself you can be, whatever that means. And in this particular instance, it's being the highest paid. I don't want to go there. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. Interesting correlation for sure.
Avenger Gamma. It says on the superhero card for her. Gamma associated again with 69 in green. Princess Shrek. Low-key.
The green
Prometheus. Yeah, Prometheus is nuts. But Janice.
So yeah, the association that we've already made with the Capricorn, the Makara, the Sobek, and these publishing dates that they did. I think they publish it on these dates on purpose. Because they're symbolically trying to show that it reflects back to this Janus, or this, it's the gateway of going through dying and then coming back to life, this rebirth thing again. And like Jim Carrey, he's born in January, right? And he plays all these characters.
Oh, that's the Jim Carrey connection? Interesting.
Yeah, Jim Carrey's connected. I think they use Capricorns in a lot of these different roles on purpose, because they know how to embody the energy of that, because astrologically they're born representations of it, right? So he is a Janus character. He's this, kind of Joker, little bit Two-Face kind of thing. But also in Batman Forever, he would play the Riddler. Val Kilmer is also a Capricorn, and he plays Batman. And in that one, there's also Two-Face that's in that movie. And Batman has a girlfriend, but she is his psychiatrist, and talking about how he split his personalities when he was a kid into Bruce Wayne and Batman, right? So that's why there's all this like duality, Two-Face, Janus type symbology throughout the whole movie, and even putting the two Capricorns as and Robin is in this too, so his counterpart. So it's all this like splitting that they showed symbolically in it.
Earliest use of the question mark, the 8th century, as a lightning flash, striking from right to left. The punctuation system of Elias Donatus, current through the early Middle Ages, used only simple dots at various heights. Interesting.
Yeah. So you'll.
And also the Janus, really quickly. I just want to show this, because this is a German car, the Janus, and you can never tell whether it was coming or going. It was like by car.
Totally right through the front, eh?
I'm a fan. I love this thing because it's an Iseta also did this as well. You have the company started out by making scooters, and you can tell refrigerators, right? And so between the two, they came out with this. I'm not kidding. That's a truth. That's a fact.
It almost looks like Mr. Bean's car.
Right. Yeah. He had a 3-wheeler though. The Iseta.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find that. Here you go. There you go. The Iseta. You get like 90. You get 90 miles a gallon with one of these. In my hometown, there's a guy who has a couple of them, because you have to always get a second to fix the parts for things like that. But it's like 20 horsepower, 15 horsepower, or something like that. So it's the mileage is amazing, right? That's the thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, they had some interesting little vehicles, man.
Dude. Yeah. But yeah, Halloween and the association of Samhain with green, I mean, it seems like that's even the pumpkins grow with green on them. Everything, it comes from we're getting the idea of color complements again. And it just seems like that's the point.
Yeah. And I guess it kind of, we didn't go into like Ozymandias and at least the word association of Wizard of Oz and the Emerald City, right?
Yeah. What is Ozymandias? Let's explain that though.
So Ozymandias, I asked you before we started the show if you've seen the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I don't know if Bernard has watched it.
I have indeed. It's been a while, but that was actually a really good movie. It's made up of a bunch of short ones, is it, or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bunch of stories they pieced together at different. It's during the same time period, but different characters' lives during pretty much like the 1800s. And
I remember watching it for sure.
And it's all about death. Every single one of the stories.
That's Tom Waits.
Yes, it is Tom Waits. Yeah, he does a great job too. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I gotta watch this.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies. And one of the short stories is about this traveling entertainment guy. Well, there's two of them. One is the the boss, and he's not crippled, and then he has a crippled actor, right? Or kind of a Shakespearean poet, kind of actor. And he sits him on a chair, and he sets up the stage and everything. And they go from like these little gold mining towns and stuff like that to entertain him and get money. And this guy it says the same story over and over again because these people never heard it before. But he starts off with this poem by Percy Shelley, which is Ozymandias, right? And it's a very interesting poem, and then it connects into Ramses II. We were looking at Ramses II. That was his moniker. But if you read the poem, it's pretty short. It has to do with death. That's why they associate it.
Do you want to read it, or if it's clear, legible? Is that legible enough for you?
Yeah, so it says, I met a traveler from an antique land who said 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that his sculptor well those passion red which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hands that mock them, and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. No thing beside remains. Round the decay of the colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. Right.
I like that his name is Ozymandias because Oz 77, which means strength in Hebrew and has the Kabbalistic value of 77, but is also associated with the Wizard of Oz, Emerald City, Emerald, Kansas City, but it has to do with emeralds because of vanadium. Vanadium is a mineral that resonates refracts at the 500 to 570 nanometer power density, hence the greenness. But we talked a bit about the association with rubies, because rubies are hitting at the higher 600s, 680s to 700 power density because they're thicker molecules, thicker minerals. But yeah, the Emerald City, man, and the ruby slippers, even though they were silver in the book, I'll take it.
Yeah, interesting. Red and green again, right? And the green is like their goal. They're looking to get to this place of green to gather the things that they
also
think
running.
That they need.
They're running from a green witch, right? Of course, too. So,
yeah, exactly.
The witch, it's as above, so below. There, the green is the good and the evil. It's just the extreme magic. It's like it's the awareness of that from the other side of the veil that you see.
Yeah, and supposedly the story is that they're looking for all these things that they think that they don't have, and isn't that what the wizard ends up telling them? Is that, look, you guys had it all along. You don't need anything. Here's a certificate. Here's this. You pass the test. You getting here, you figuring it out, you moving past your fears and helping each other, right? And supposedly the scarecrow had no brains, but he was like the smartest one.
Yeah,
right?
He's got to be like Thoth. You know what I mean? Emerald, and Thoth, and the scarecrow.
Yeah,
I've seen this picture so many times. Is this like an actual real tablet that can be sourced or traced to somewhere?
Great question. I don't have the data on that.
Yeah, not so far back. you know, when you look into it, people say, you know, there's no proof of its age. The farthest they can trace it back is to when it was supposedly
even
found.
just the item itself, like who has that item? Where is it? And
I think it's in England. I think it's in.
It is actually, hey.
I think so, as far as I remember.
Yeah, I don't have. Where's the thing at? The
Love to get a look at that. Yeah, see, so there's two different ones. That one looked a little more legit, almost.
Yeah, but this one, the one that looks more legit, the one that's more legit is a replication. So that's why it looks more legit.
Oh, that is a replication. Okay.
Yeah, but the one that's supposed to be older, you know, yeah, it's hard to be sure. I don't know where it is. Here we go, pictures of it, definitive guide. I don't know.
Right, like where. I'd love to find the source of that picture, and like if that is actually a giant green glass.
Yeah, we gotta track it down.
Very interesting. Sure. If it was actually emerald, Okay, I'm gonna pause it there for a second. Oops, I meant to do this one. The person who is in the picture here on screen, this guy right here, he goes by Annex D. He runs Adept Alchemist, or no, Adept Initiate. Sorry, Adept Initiate is where I first encountered him. Extremely well-wisdomed and knowledgeable individual in the esoteric and occult arts, mostly esoteric, studying under all of Manly P. Hall's works and many more. He's currently over in Egypt at Giza on the plateau, doing tours in the different pyramids. So this is a different image, completely different tablet. And it actually looks more Arabic, to be honest. The language there, Proto-Arabic, and it's on display somewhere. Anywho, I've actually been talking to Annex D a bit over Twitter and email now. Hopefully we're gonna do a show at some point. There's so many. There's literally like 50 people. I'm gonna do just an update stream coming up pretty soon for the year ahead. It's insane. Tonight for Halloween Part 2, we're gonna have Gerald with the secret sauce, a drop of coil knowledge with Jeremiah and Charlie C. That's Charles Crawford III. Epic builders, engineers, next level technological developers, designers, good friends of mine and absolute geniuses, including hearing Charlie C's full story of the Ghostbuster gun device that he's built and the actual on seance and on the circle medium practices with the device around and measuring of it, as well as I believe ghost hunting or in like portal ghosts haunted sites, some high activity sites. I don't know the actual professional term. I'll get that clarified in part 2 this evening with Gerald, Jeremiah, JP, Charlie C, everybody else that wants to be there. Probably also have Andreas Zertis co-hosting and live on his channel as well. Campbell, if you're still here, it looks like you are. I think you're busy. It's going to be your morning or early afternoon that we'll be doing this. I think you're doing a course, so if you're busy, but if you like what I've done with Halloween Part 1 here, let me know, and we can also put Part 2 live on your channel too. With the whole group of guys, if Jeremy's available, we might also have the Alien Scientist on with us and be live on Alien Scientist as well. now that I've figured out this new way to get the other channels into this multi-streaming. And less requirements now, which makes it all the better. What the heck else was I going to say? Science of Sound episode is going to be coming up either 1 week from now or 2 weeks from now, or it'll be a two-parter. Going to be so much more to come. There's just so much. It's epic. It's all coming together. I love you all. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to finish playing the part of the Emerald Tablets 3 here. And right now, I remember what the last things I wanted to go over quickly before I forget. What we'll also be covering tonight in the part 2. I'll be going more in depth with the extra camera angles and the setup of how to make these monoatomics for everybody. But we'll also be going over the hover coil design, how to build, and several other different awesomenesses. And some of them will be from rexresearch.com, the most epic research site of ever, pretty much, including the alchemy index that they have, which is just unbelievable resource. It's pretty crazy. Each one of these are translated ancient texts, but like novels of knowledge, that it's a worm. Each one is an absolute insane wormhole of higher technological lost science and technology of alchemy, cold fusion, as well as there being up-to-date modern lab run experiments and writings and works as well, all chronologized into this massive index and archive of amazing, ridiculous amounts of alchemy research. The first one I will be going into will be the Rosicrucian lower something of alchemy, and doing the Rosicrucian alchemy reading and translation description, followed by Sir Isaac Newton's. Anywho, also on Rex Research, because it is just such a ridiculously insane resource of knowledge and science and everything. There's been, well, this is just the future, and a major part of electrolysis cold fusion is the hydrogen and the HHO, also known as Brown's gas, also known as H4, also atomic hydrogen. Each one of what I listed being a different form of the plasma gases or mists that come out of, or I guess isotopes, I should say, to be correct, isotopes of the hydrogen, hydrogen water fuel reactions of electrolysis, and coming out of simple salt water and the right frequencies. Here is the page for Rex Research that we're looking at right now for anyone interested. These are all patent numbers of HHO or hydrogen or Brown's gas systems and the devices. Also look them up. Each one of those is a working patent on hydrogen. So in reality, when they say hydrogen's the future, it actually is. We just have to start building them ourselves. And instead of paying ridiculous amounts for the petrol gasoline, we could be turning it out of salt water, and it's insane. So I posted that link in the live chat. It's just so important. Let's do it one more time for everybody. That's There we go. And then now that that's done, no, not the Library of Taoist Alchemy. Water purification. Water purification is another huge one. The plasma waters, we're going to be doing that tonight as well during it. I'll play Mike from Faraday Research's water device video, go into that a bit more, and the processing of monoatomic water into colloidal waters to use for agriculture and plants and whatnot in tonight's stream as well. So here now posted is the Rex Research site on local heroes, free energy devices, and anti-gravitic propulsion, levitation inventions. Instead of anti-gravity, I'm going to start always using the term levitation inventions. So this is another one, all proven designs from the 1920s, documented in full. The original papers, mostly probably by the people. Ooh, this one looking good. Space activator. Oh, okay. Like it's insane, the multiverse, and where some of these people probably. Let's start building these things, people. Come on. And the secret sauce of Gerald will be a part of this tonight. Oh yeah, Victor Grebenkov's insect levitation, full paper on Rex Research. What else is there? Oh, here's the one, the free energy. Is this the free energy devices all working? Come on. Oh, this one. Does anyone know if this was Trunk's uncle or grandpa or something? But this also on Rex Research, the John W. Trump atomic electric motor. Interesting. Updated. Okay. Interesting. Who knows what that's from? We'll look into a little bit more tonight. Also, a little bit more tonight. Of course, what is a BurnEye's stream without some Bosnian pyramids and the Fareham Research Foundation? Also going to put this in the live chat right now for anybody that wants to go into this insane archive of the science of geoglyphology and the radials and verifying all of these ancient sites, including the Bosnian pyramids, approximately circa 22,800 before Christ, so nowadays BCE, or our time 24,800 years ago. And Pyramid of the Sun, circa 32,000 BCE. And on top of the Pyramid of the Sun is the new fort, the essential star fort civilization build that is this right here, where we always see these circles, the center radials and the angles going out. Yes, that is actually also geoglyphs on the fort on top of the Sun Pyramid. Me and Campbell went deep into it on the stream a few nights ago, still on my channel, titled with Paul Cook. Not because he didn't show up 2 days, 2 appointments in a row now. What's going on, Mr. Cook? Standing us up twice on Halloween too. But you guys got this beautiful 3-hour Halloween special instead. These are the radials plotted out by Moscow City, inner old star city of Moscow. Same geoglyphology here, the science of geoglyphology. the exact same geoglyphology at the Medicine Hat Badland Guardians that I will be going to here in Alberta, close by to me, and plotting them all out. It's an insane science. We're just learning the tip of the iceberg. This right here, that is the territory plotted out to all these specific points in these radials built into the sides, not just this little fort on top, but also all of these radials, all of these points through the three top peaks of the pyramid and the valley of the Bosnian pyramid. You connect the triangles, the angles of them, and the directions, and sure enough, they plot out to these specific points: the northern tip of Ireland, tip of Portugal, Gibraltar, I think that's Tunisia or Libya, Tripoli, maybe, not sure, one of them. Also, it's straight to Kaliningrad, the Russian section there on the Baltic Sea. And look at all of these ones also included in it. Just absolutely insane science of, well, we thought it was lost, but it's just suppressed and hidden. But right here, also the radials, this is the angles, the length of the sides of the pyramids. You measure them, the angle and the length, plot them out. Same radial system, also going up to Lewis Island, Cornwall, Bay of Nazarenes, to Portugal, to Africa, Tunis, Jerusalem, Luxor, Cape Town, Africa. Southern boundary of Russia. The southern boundary of Russia, modernly today, still is built into one of these measuring points of the side of one of, I think, the Sun Pyramid of Bosnia. And that right there is an epiphany. This is the exact same science of geoglyphology and what Sherry has sent us, the world's oldest 33 map of the Atlanteans. So as you're seeing here in the Bosnian pyramids, that they're at least 95,000 or 9,500 BC, so 11,500, approximately 12,000 years ago, the end of the last ice age, the Younger Dryas event, and going back, the oldest pyramid of the sun, approximately 32,000 years ago, so that's 1.5 full 24,000 wobble precession of the equinox, golden cycles, Kali Yuga. But yeah, there you go. It is the Atlantean from the time of Atlantis. So were the Bosnian pyramids, so are the Egyptian. They even go to each other. It's all insane what is out there. We're going to cover more of it and that secret sauce of Gerald and the Coils tonight. All right. What up, Craig? And Chell, and TW, and Marcel, Brian Evans, and Lucky Lorax, and Just JP, and Sherry, and Kimmy, and everybody. Happy Halloween. This is part 1. Oh my God, it's 3 hours and 17 minutes in. There you got a cloudy monoatomic zinc and monoatomic copper, but it's actually looking more like diatomic silver being formed on the right side here. I'll give you guys and girls a quick look at it all before we end here, and then CJDV. Happy Halloween. And Adam, Space Case, you're Adam coming on tonight. You're the Coils part 2. What the heck else? Oh, Nancy and John Hutchinson. I have a group phone call with them in the next day or two as well to discuss an episode of we're finally doing together on the crystal battery of theirs. Charlie has made one that runs at a consistent, I think, 1.5 volt that's operated for over 1.5 years now. There's many people that have made them, utilized them. They've developed them to the next level. And Volume 3 of the crystal battery is going to be coming out with the Hutchinsons and me and Charlie C and Jeremiah P. Very, very soon. We will see Gerald and you and all of you and me and probably Zertus and maybe Campbell and maybe Adam and God knows who else. All of you later tonight for part 2 or later today, depending where in the world you are. Any last things? Oh, also, we will be having Faraday Mike back on very soon, and his free energy devices and builds, such as the Adams Molder and the Don Smith generator, his water generator, and
Like I could keep going if I want to. All right. So you can hear the piezo's, and if you hold on to them, you can get quite a little jolt. So these are lit up, like just to show you.
I guess we better be live on your channel too, and
they take 90 volts each.
We'll be there,
to run those
Mr. Campbell.
bulbs. Now look at the lights.
It's going to be
I
an
couldn't
epic
do this
Halloween
before
part
without
2.
those piezo's. That's all I've changed.
I guess, Mr. Campbell, if you want to
So
make the
I'm going to
event
adjust the current on
for
this. It's at 60 milliamps.
12 hours from
at
now
16
or
volts.
14 hours from now, maybe.
I'll put it down to. Let's put it at 50 milliamps. Let's keep between 40 and 50. Look, all my lights are lit up. I could not do that without the piezo's. All the power is being stopped inside that coil. It's trapped. So the piezo's is doing something to get that voltage out. I don't think.
All right, so that was a little sample. And I guess I should also post Mr. Mike's channel because he only needs another 10, I believe, subscribers to reach 2,000. So if 10 of you would like to, okay, you're busy till Campbell. No worries, Campbell. No worries. You will talk to Zertus soon enough, I am sure. Let me know if you want us to do the Halloween show on your channel, though. If not, no worries. We will be live on all of ours. It shall continue. What the heck was I doing? Right. Mr. Mike's channel, so we can get him to 2,000 subscribers on Halloween. Let's give Mike a very happy Halloween. Here is his free energy shorty.
Resonating on top of the piezo's.
Vibrating crystals. You can
Generating
hear the
a lot of
crystals.
light. Oh, I'm just going to play with the frequency, and you can kind of see the different, and you can hear the sound of the crystals resonating on top of the piezo's. Generating a lot of light. So I'm just going to play with the frequency, and you can kind of see the different, and you can hear the sound of the crystals resonating on top of the piezo's. Generating a lot of light. Oh, I'm just going to play with the frequency, and you can kind of see the different, and you can hear the sound of the crystals resonating on top of the piezo's. Generating.
Okay, did it not go through? I thought I sent it. There it is. Now it's finally up. So it'll be the Sokol experiments with Skull experiments, trans-dimensional sciences coming up with Charlie C and Gerald, secret sauce with the coils. Andre Zertus. All right, Charlie C's channel for all of you as well. Also, make sure to sub to Charlie C's channel coming up in the live chat. Boop-a-doop-boo, and I meant to open that as I open Charlie C's channel right here. What I wanted to show with the Year of the Coil, we will be doing tonight, and the Star of the Jar. Charlie edited the cold fusion experiment videos, the 3 of them that Jeremiah did, where we achieved legitimate cold fusion of transmutating hydrogen into helium in these reactions. Just not a very sustained reaction yet. He needs the Variacs. And also, if anyone wants to donate Variacs or signal generators to me so that I can also replicate this experiment in a safe lab environment so I don't expose myself to the radiation and die, but I need Variacs and signal generators. And speaking of donations, this is the perfect time to speak on you beautiful, lovely souls that did donate tonight through the PayPal. I love all of you. And I'm going to be doing one little episode just on giving thanks to everybody who has donated so far over the time. And Jill Roosevelt, thank you for the 65 Canadian today, which is 50 American, I do believe, which if you want the shirt thing, we will be in touch and do it. And to anyone else that has done that over, I should also state though, needs to include plus shipping and handling fees, but I'm going to try to work it out and figure it all out to make it a decent price or include it. I don't know. I haven't done it before, but we'll figure it out. Thank you also, Nicole Ross, for the 613 Canadian. I believe that is 5 American. And David Wiener yesterday, 649 Canadian. I don't know. Did it fluctuate that much, or does PayPal's shit fluctuate that much? I don't know. And Cindy Stephan, 1817 Canadian on October 27th, a few days ago. Bless your soul. Thank you all. I'm slowly getting up to enough that we should be able to do the medicine at balance, but I got to get my ass freaking job to pay for my overdue rent so my shit doesn't get evicted. Fuck my life. Those COVID payments are what made the streaming possible for all that time. But hey, it's reality again. This mofo needs to get a job to pay for life. Thank you all. I love you. Get my shirt together, Burn. That is the big thing. I need to get my clothing back together, get printing, do orders, be selling the clothing. And on that note, we've got 6 minutes and 30 seconds left before it is then 3:33 again. Let's see if we can get it done on Halloween part 1. Where the heck? Oh, here. Star of the Jar. Cold fusion. Come on, Jeremiah.
That's what they did at MIT, dude. I'll have to send you the videos of what they did. They had their thing to run an experiment.
Oh, check this out too. I'll show you this. If I unplug it, you'll see it close for just a second. So I'm gonna unplug it. Yeah, you see how it kind of persists for a bit? So there's a bit of energy. There's still a bit of energy flowing into that thing. The reaction stays going for a moment after the power gets cut, which is also pretty darn cool.
And it's the arc reaction, the plasma arc energy that enables the cold fusion aspect and the transmutation of the hydrogen into the helium. And for more detailed information on cold fusion, or the transmutations in cold fusion that happens through this plasma, it's Bob Greenyer's research and work that really goes into the details of it and explaining it all.
I guess I could try to do this, which I should probably do at least for fun. probably end up wrecking my electrodes more. But let me see if I can turn the angles on these and actually get it to go into the H3 state with the current limited power. And what I've got to do is get these electrodes close enough where basically
I'll try it over cement, try it over the kitchen floor, you know.
For sure.
I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting. This is, you know, this is probably one of the first things I've seen actually do anything since the lifter days. And this is most certainly not a lifter. So
Right. This finally gets rid of the dispute of the ion win from the lifter.
Way too
Yeah, this Charlie. I mean, did you test? And have you gotten the ozone?
Yep, I smelled an ozone from it, but I haven't noticed any lift yet.
Well, you could try potting it, right? Maybe that would solve it. If you used the light potting, that might.
No,
do it.
you can't.
Ozone.
Actually, we've been theorizing that the wires actually need to vibrate in order to operate. So we're not sure yet, but I wouldn't recommend going.
Now that would be great.
Everybody in.
Illuminati confirmed.
Illuminati confirmed. Okay.
You will talk to them people.
Printmatic.
Be careful, they're gonna take a scan of your eye.
Yeah. I like to get inside and drive along open roads.
You will show my pores, let's see your pores.
On life, wishing that the gas prices wasn't so high. The lust
Buddy, you are back. You are absolutely.
Sometimes success is deceiving to the eye, cause people say they rich when they just getting by. Television make you think it's something you can buy, but before you get the truth, you gotta sort through the lies. Choose your own path and walk on by. The only true failure is if you don't try.
And on that Illuminati confirmed note, we got. Oh, we gotta play a little bit of this.
This is the beat, isn't it?
Now that.
Oh, but I'm still here because we still have 2 minutes and 26 seconds left. Dude, and. Okay, man. All right. I'm not going to do a 10 or 30-second countdown. I'm just going to randomly end it in 20 seconds. And at that point, I will stop talking. But until then, we're going to see you. Happy Halloween. Be ghoulish. Be good. Be great. Subscribe to Charlie C. Subscribe to Andreas. We'll see you all